What up, everybody? Welcome to the Bare Minimum Late Night Thursday, as always. We are gonna get into some fun stuff, so we're glad you're here tonight. We're gonna do headlines, deadlines. Brandon's got some good ones there. We're gonna touch on some Bears Nuggets. We're gonna do a full first round mock draft where me and Brandon alternate the picks, and we're also gonna get you a movie review of The Complete Unknown. Happy you're here. Let's get into it. Yo, I'm Dustin Jones. That's Brandon DePlacy, Bears on Brand. We're here with another edition of the Bare Minimum that we didn't share with anyone, but everybody should know like the time 11:30. I was very busy today, man. I got my ass kicked at work all night. I know you've been down in the dumps a little bit, not feeling well, but we're here anyways. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to talk some Bears and anything else we want to get into with you, Brandon. What up, bro?
Not too much, yeah, man. Today's the first day I'm feeling a little better, but excited to do this
Celebrate.
as always, man. Excited to talk some Bears. There's actually a little bit of news, actually pretty big news to be honest.
Well, let's get into it because I think the news you're touching on is the Kyler Gordon thing, which we've been talking about. And I was saying on Monday, and we all were saying, like, I think that there's a lot more to be unlocked in terms of Kyler Gordon and Dennis Allen's defense. And then Dennis Allen came out today and said he wants him to move around. He wants him to play another position and be multiple in that respect. He mentioned cornerback and safety. I've talked about him being that third linebacker. In a defense, he could be in a certain defensive set, he could be the third linebacker or the third safety, depending on how they want to run it. I think this is very interesting news. Like you said, it's kind of a big deal. And I think it's going to unlock Kyler Gordon's skill set even more this year in like a Tyrann Mathieu kind of way. Is that how you're feeling about this?
Yeah, and it just makes sense what Dennis Allen told him himself was, I just need you on the field more, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, Kyle Gordon's probably a top five player on this roster. There's no reason just because he plays the nickel position that he should really ever come off the field at any point, Dustin. I mean, this guy's a playmaker. The defense was noticeably better when he was on the field versus when he got injured for those 2 games last season. I think this is a guy you can utilize, like you said, in a lot of different ways in a lot of different positions, but most importantly, just have him on the football field.
So yeah, last year I believe 79% of the snaps. The year before 80%. His rookie season, he was on the field for like 90% of the snaps because he played outside corner, which is where he struggled mightily in his rookie season. If we all remember, you knew there was something in there. He was better than his performance his rookie season, obviously, and he's shown that. But yeah, you want to get him on the field for more snaps. And in that vein, I'll ask you this question, Brandon, because Dennis Allen specifically mentioned outside corner, where we just said he's struggled, Kyler Gordon in the past, rookie season, so grain of salt, or safety. Which position would you see him excelling at? If he were to go to a second position to keep him on the field more, where would you want to see him at? That outside corner, that boundary corner, or safety?
I would probably rather see him at the safety role, but I
Yeah.
think he could do a little bit of both. I don't like him playing like super fast receivers. That's where I think he struggled most as a rookie. He can cover big bodied receivers because he's just a physical guy. But I mean, he's a hard hitter and he fills the gap. He plays the run pretty well. I could see him playing even more of a strong side safety if Brisker were to go down. You wouldn't want Kyler Gordon to be there full time, but I think he'd definitely take some of those snaps for sure. And I think he'd be able to play safety even with both their guys healthy. I think Kyler Gordon is a better player than Kevin Byard by all measures. I do. I know Kevin Byard's done the job asked of him, but Gordon's younger. He's more explosive. He's more athletic, and he's just a better football player with more awareness. I think Kyler Gordon probably has the best awareness in this secondary. There's a lot of really good players in the secondary.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson. I mean, that's up for debate, but I think it's safety too. I think it's safety too because of what you said. He's great against the run. He's great coming up to the line of scrimmage, and he could do strong safety or free safety. I don't know if you remember, but when he was struggling as a rookie, I said I could see his skill set where he could be a safety for this team. The Bears needed a free safety. They had Brisker that rookie season, and Gordon looked like he could fill that role, and you could see him definitely excelling in that role, given his skill set, man, his ability to tackle, his ability to be aware and diagnose a play, and he can also, play that center field potentially, if it's needed. I'd be interested to see him play that in that safety role, and like I said, even that coming down as that he could be the third safety on the field, but also come down in that third linebacker role, in this Bears defense when you're going up against three receiver sets and you need to, and potentially you're expecting the run. I mean, he could do anything for you. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dennis Allen does. One thing I know for sure, I mean, we can speculate on all this. Kyler Gordon is going to snap in this Dennis Allen defense this year. They are going to feature him heavily, and he will be on the field more this season than he was last. Those two things are for sure.
Yeah, I think Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson will both be finalists for possibly the All-Pro team at the end of the season. Jalen Johnson made it last year. I could see Kyler Gordon. I think he's the best nickel in football, Dustin. And I do think that based on projection, because I don't know if I'd call him the best as of last year, as of what he's done so far in the league, but I think he really does have a lot more potential. And if he gets better than he is right now, he will be the best nickel in football.
Well, I mean, that stat came out, when Kyler Gordon got resigned, or right before Kyler Gordon got resigned, where, only one team had two cornerbacks in the top 15 in passer rating against, and they were Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson for the Chicago Bears. So when you see that, you do see, like, I need to get this guy more involved. He needs to be on the field more often. So it's going to be exciting to see what they do with him. Kyler Gordon just got that extension. He earned it, and he's going to keep earning it this season because they're going to ask a lot of him, and I think it will make this defense better the more he is on the field, as you said, Brandon. And I do want to say, anybody in here who's with us, thank you for being here. Please hit that like, subscribe, hit a comment for us. We'll talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. It's the bare minimum 4-star Chicago sports. The other news that came out the other day, TJ Edwards got a contract extension shortly after the Kyler Gordon one. 2 years, $20 million, 16.5 guaranteed. What do you think of this, Brandon? We had talked about it on Monday. The writing was on the wall that it was potentially going to be happening. What are your thoughts on this TJ Edwards extension?
I mean, I wouldn't mind having TJ Edwards here for one more year because I don't think you're going to be able to flip your entire linebacking core with, first round potential even over the next 2 years. But I don't know. Edwards is a player that's regressed, if you ask me. I thought his best season was the first season he was on this team. I don't expect that to turn around. I think he'll regress even further. I think this linebacking core, Dustin, is ranked bottom 10 in the NFL. That's where I would place them. I think that Poles is happy there's familiarity here, especially, with those captains, those guys in the middle of the field. But I think you can do better. I think he's a replacement level player, and I think he's going to be here for the next 2 years. That's not good news, and it's not, horribly bad news for me. I don't know. How do you feel?
The linebacking core was worrisome last year, and then going into this year, you wonder if there need to be improvements. Now they've re-signed him. He was a steal of a signing a few years ago on that three-year, $18 million deal with around there, right? And he outperformed that contract. And he grew up a Bears fan. He's from local kid, and it's a great story. He's performed very well, but yes, he did regress last year, and he's 29 years old, correct? So I mean, like, he's going into the later stages of his career. This feels like an overpay because of the underpay. Like, to me, it feels like you're paying for past performance to the future, and those deals are always tough for me to swallow, to be honest. You just feel like you could end up upside down on that deal. It's 2 years, it's $16.5 million. It's nothing crazy, but it's just like, I don't know. We could have used that money towards something else. Hopefully TJ Edwards has a great season. I just wouldn't count on it. As I said on Monday when we talked about it, man, his game is predicated on the speed, being at a top level. And that's one thing that you lose as you get older, no doubt about it. So if he continues to regress, it's going to look like a bad deal. If he had just a bad season, chalk it up to dysfunction with the team and just bad coaching and all those things, and you've you've improved your coaching greatly, hopefully, right? So and maybe the culture and the vibe is going to be different. So he's in for this like bounce back season. Then it could be another steal, just on its face, man. Judging it, I feel like you're paying for past performance more than you're paying for future performance, which I'm just never a fan of.
Yeah, and you mentioned the speed, and I mean it's not something we can't see visibly. He was struggling to get side to side, but the biggest concern for me for both these guys, Dustin, is just their lack of power. They cannot get off blocks. Either one of these players. When you saw a player like Billings and Brisker go down, who are getting up there and filling gaps, these guys were in trouble when those swing guards got up in front of them. They just can't shed those blocks. They get thrown around like rag dolls. And that's my biggest concern, is that if the run defense isn't as solid as it can be up front, it's going to fall right into these guys' laps, and they did not respond well last year.
Well, that's got to be the hope, right? That the defensive line gets improved. Hopefully, they're not done improving the defensive line. They can add another big body, big boy to put up there in this draft. And, less offensive linemen are getting to the second level,
Yeah.
because they're occupied with that front four. And then you're just filling gaps versus, taking on a blocker and having to shed that block and still make the play. Because that is a hard thing to do, Brandon.
Yeah,
you're
these guards are incredibly athletic today.
Mhm.
They're large guys. But the league's best linebackers can do it, man.
No, for sure. You 100%. And I don't know that Edmonds or Edwards are that. Again, Edwards, has been a tackle machine for the Bears. And again, I like the kid. I like the guy. He's a good football player. It's just hopefully this isn't an overpay, going forward. Hopefully he continues to play at a high level like he did the first 2 years of this contract. And last year was just an aberration versus, what's going to be the norm for him going forward, man. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, and man, there's no merit to this. I'm just based off what I see. Some of these guys at the end of last season were making business decisions, and I felt like Edwards was in that category. He didn't. It seemed like his effort fell off a little bit to me.
Well, everybody's did, and it's
Yeah.
hard to hold one guy accountable for that. Besides, the coach, it's hard because like you didn't hold it together, and that's your job as a head coach. And once that disease of me gets into the locker room, even the disease of me can happen from success and it can happen from failure too. And it's hard to stop that from spreading, man. So it's hard for me to put that on TJ Edwards, to be honest. It seemed like that was the entire team those last down the stretch of that season. So
Especially on the defensive side of the ball, man.
well, they were standing on their heads all season. Like the defense it was entirely too much ass of this defense. When we talk about the defense, that's one thing that we kind of neglect to say is they really were playing with their hair on fire for the first half, 6-7 weeks of that season, man, and being asked a lot of them, and then they weren't seeing the results of it once they started losing games that they were keeping the Bears in because the offense couldn't hold its weight. That gets demoralizing. It really does. So hopefully we don't have that problem this year, and the defense can keep the vibes high.
Yeah,
That's my take.
Yeah, no, it was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. The offense couldn't stay on the field.
Which and that gasses you out too, man. So listen, hope the best for the Bears and TJ Edwards. Congratulations to him for getting the deal. I mean, it's hard to get paid in the NFL. So if you're getting paid, you earned it in one way or the other. I just hope the deal doesn't end up looking bad a year from now. That's my concern. If he plays well, then we're all gravy. I got one more question for you regarding the Bears, man, with these re-signings. Obviously, Tooney is a guy they just traded draft capital for. Hopefully he's a leader on this offensive line and a guy that can play a couple more years. Do you think the Bears are going to re-sign him? We know we want them to re-sign him. Do you think they're going to do it? Because they just traded draft capital this past offseason for Keenan Allen and then moved on from him after a year. It's not necessarily a guarantee. So do you see the Bears doing it with Tooney?
I think they do, and I think they should, and I don't think this should be like a Tev. I mean, this guy's been healthy his entire career. This isn't a Tevin Jenkins situation. You don't let this guy get to the bye week and tell him you talk about it again. I think you get this guy under contract for at least another 2 years. And yeah, I think it's something Ryan Poles is probably trying to work out right now.
Yeah, I think it's something he's going to prioritize, and I don't think it's something he's going to let linger. This seems like a very a very easy move for Poles to make, and it seems like it's right in his wheelhouse in terms of how he likes to handle his business. I think Tooney is going to get re-signed. I think it will be done before the season starts, maybe in training camp like it was last year with DJ Moore. But I mean, it's going to happen. I don't think Pole's going to mess around with this and let it get too late. I think once he knows he wants somebody on his team, he makes the move to sign him and lock him up. So Tooney's going to get re-signed. I think that's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, and Ryan Poles' handling of the offensive line position and the unit in general has been egregious prior to this season. So I hope he knows that he needs to do things differently in order to keep Caleb Williams standing up.
Well, yeah, the only problem with that is it's tough to know if you're doing things differently if you're not seeing the results on the field. He's got to count on the coaching to get the most out of the players, and he can put the players there. And if it don't happen, it don't happen. Or if health becomes an issue, got Braxton Jones injured right now, Karan Amagaji dealing with injury, and these are our guys competing for the left tackle spot as of right now. The Bears, draft is next week. I'm excited. We'll see what they do, but maybe they don't draft a left tackle, and you're counting on these coaches to develop these guys and get the best out of them, get better play than you got last year. So I mean, there's no way to know until you see it on the field. But with a guy like Tooney, with the resume he has, I don't think you let that linger very long at all. I think you gotta nail him down.
Yeah, especially after trading draft capital.
No doubt. So speaking of the draft, you got headlines, deadlines that you put together surrounding the draft. I would imagine we're again a week away, and since we're talking about that, let me just say that April 24th, day of the first round of the draft, we're going to be at River Street. Bears draft party. It's hosted by us and River Street. Doors are at 5, I believe, or 4 o'clock. But I mean, we're going to start out at 6 p.m. Got giveaways, got all kinds of cool autograph stuff, raffles, a 50-50 raffle. It's for Bears Care, so I mean, it's going towards a good cause. We got all kinds of awesome specials for y'all. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're all going to be there, health and wellness permitting. So come out and see us, say what's up, and have a damn good time. Get to see what the Bears do with that 10th pick, man. It's going to be exciting.
Doors open at 4 o'clock. I love the NFL draft, man. Yeah. I really do. It is one of those things. It's a sporting event that's not an actual game that I love to get out and be around people for sure.
It's because it's about hope.
And you want to celebrate with somebody when they make the move that you're longing for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you're longing for it because you're hoping it's going to work, right? You haven't seen that player on the field yet. It's just expectations, projection, and hope. So you get to feel good about it, really, no matter what, unless it's Shea McClellan or Mitch Trubisky. I mean, the Bears have dashed my hopes a lot of times.
Broken our hearts.
Yeah. So last year, great draft. Hopefully this year the Bears can pull something off and come away with a really good player with that number 10 pick, man. And I mean, let's get into these headlines or deadlines and see what your thoughts are in terms of what are the big stories going into this draft.
Okay. I did see in the Field Yates, Mel Kiper multi-mock draft they did together. Yeah. I did see Shedeur Sanders going to the Saints with the 7th overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, they traded up, right?
Eighth,
no, ninth. The Saints are ninth.
Yeah. So
there was no trade with that.
So my question for you is headline or deadline, Shedeur Sanders will be a top 10 pick?
Man, I think it's a headline. I think when you look at the quarterback needy teams in the top 10, it's going to be hard for them to pass on him unless they think someone else is better. But Cam Ward's going number 1. That's fait accompli. That's done. And it makes sense. But I think Shedeur Sanders, I mean, I'm on an island with this. I feel like I think you agree with me, but I think he's better than people give him credit for. I think he's misunderstood in terms of his confidence versus people interpreting it as cockiness. I mean, it is what it is. I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. And if you're a team that's in need of one, like the Saints, who Derek Carr are now dealing with injury, and he's not even really that good when he's healthy, that makes sense. If you're a team like the Giants, I don't think you can count on Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. If you're a team like the Jets, Justin Fields, I don't know. What are you thinking there? Why not at least have this guy that you can develop for a year I mean, all those teams have guys that can play while he develops, because I think the kind of consensus right now is that he's not ready right away. So there's teams that are quarterback needy that don't have the answer right now. They just have a temporary solution. And Shador Sanders would make a lot of sense for a lot of them. So I think it's a headline that he goes in that top 10, man.
Yeah, I do too. And I said something about him. Well, we were talking about his. I think it was this last week's bare minimum. We were talking about his confidence or his attitude, or lack for a better word. I think the guys that play really well on every level that they play, high school, collegiate, and just still have this crowd that finds a way to hate them. I like that a lot more, man, than the guys who are loved all the time. Like, you heard so much about Will Levis. Like, we're talking about the Titans taking Cam Ward, and what a disaster that became. And how much people love this guy, even when he released
Brandon,
his.
I hated Will Levis
I
from the
know.
beginning. He
And I
was
think
awful,
me
garbage.
and you have done a pretty good job at identifying talent at this position, Dustin, prior to drafts. But Shador
And let's say
Sanders,
this. Let's say this. A lot of people in Chicago were doing this same shit that's happening with Shador Sanders with fucking Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, yeah. And I like
Yeah.
how the guys like these, and to me, Shador Sanders has done this throughout his career. He's able to use it as fuel. And I think that's something that, if he utilizes the right way, in a mature way, Shador Sanders is going to come out just like he did in college and silence the doubters again at some point in
Yeah.
his career. And he does have a very unique, he has a skill set, Dustin, that Cam Ward will never come close to. I mean,
In
there's
terms
just,
of maneuvering in the
yeah,
pocket, getting outside the pocket. Yeah, 100%. And I just want to make clear, I'm not comparing Shador Sanders to Caleb Williams, because I know people do that shit. I'm saying they're nowhere. I don't think they're anywhere near each other in terms of level of talent, just in terms of the scrutiny, and just kind of just finding whatever you can to nitpick at the guy. That's what this feels like. It feels very similar. I like Shador Sanders, and I
yeah.
think I don't think he's going to be a star or anything, but he's going to be a solid quarterback in the NFL.
when
Teddy Bridgewater, like.
when fans start to judge a player outside of his actual play, it seems like those guys tend to use that as some sort of motivation, and it helps them succeed in their
Yeah.
careers, man.
And there's something that's up when people start doing that too. Because it's not about anything but the play on the football field, right? I mean, obviously your mentality and your attitude towards the game is going to matter in terms of how good you can get. But, it seems like these are just concocted things that people are coming up with. People aren't happy with the way he answers questions, but I like a guy that's straight up. I like a guy that's confident in his abilities. And I like Shador Sanders. Top 10 makes sense to me, because if I was a team that was in need of a quarterback, I might take a chance on him. I mean, the Falcons did it last year with Michael Penix, and it looks like that might be working out for them. I don't know. Is Shador Sanders that much worse than Michael Penix? I don't
No, and I
think
don't
so.
think a team taking Shador Sanders in the top 10 would be. I think you could criticize that even less than we did the Falcons for making that move for Michael Penix. I mean, because they just signed Kirk Cousins, obviously, but Shador Sanders, by all measures, to me, looked like a better quarterback in college than Michael Penix did. That's just my personal opinion, man. I think that he.
Yeah, people will throw out the success of the team and those things, and that's valid to a point, I guess. But I just think it makes sense for Shador, especially for the teams that do need a quarterback. Like I said, they don't need Shador to start right away. They can give him some time to develop. So, I mean, I think that would be a good for him and the team that drafts him.
Yeah, so we both say headline there. I agree with you, man. Next, Jahad Campbell will be the best overall player from this draft.
I gotta say headline, man. I fucking love Jahad Campbell, and I think some team is going to get a steal in that draft you referenced with Field Yates and Mel Kiper. Jahad Campbell fell all the way to the Eagles. Put Jahad Campbell with Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond on that Eagles defense. Get the
Nolan Smith.
get out of here, dude. Get out of here. That would just be a steal of steals, man. I hope that doesn't happen, because I don't want to see the Eagles get.
Yeah, I was so disappointed when I saw that. It's like
I'll
not
say
even reality. It's just a projection, and I was disappointed to see it, man.
whoever the Eagles get, and it feels like whoever the Chiefs get, it's going to feel like, what the fuck? The rich get richer with this. Like, somebody's going to fall to both of those teams that you're just like, that's not fair that they're on those teams. But Jahad Campbell, I think, can definitely be the best player in this draft. He's in my top 10. He's a guy that's worthy of a top 10 pick. And yeah, I think he can bring instant impact to the football field in his rookie season. And you're going to see it right away, especially if he falls into the right situation. Like if he were to end up on the Eagles with Vic Fangio and the rest of those players on that defense, he would be unstoppable, dude.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say headline too because I think he can be the best player at his position. You know what I mean? Like I think Jahad Campbell can be a top 3 linebacker in the NFL. I don't know that Abdul Carter can be that in the NFL at his position.
That's
You know,
interesting.
I don't know. I think Jahad Campbell could maybe one day be the best linebacker in the NFL, man. Honestly, the kid is just scratching the surface of what he's capable of, and like you said, you know, Nick Saban's not there anymore, but he was. Oh, he's just a stud, man. He's a stud. He's
Yeah.
he's he was the quarterback of defense in the NFL and the NCAA, and he did a damn good job of it. And I don't see Dustin. We've talked about how deep this draft is at so many positions. Once you get past Jahad Campbell, if you're talking about a true linebacker, like, you know, the captain of your defense, he's so far above everybody else. It's really
Yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah, there's going to be guys that are going to come out of nowhere, and guys that will be drafted in the third or fourth round that will be solid linebackers. I'm sure, but I don't think anywhere near to the level of Jahad Campbell. And I think Jahad Campbell has a chance to be a stud, potential All Pro player for a 5 to 10 year span. That's how highly I think of this guy. So I could definitely see him ending up being the best player out of this draft. Obviously, it's not a guarantee, but I like what I see. He does everything really well. He fills the run lanes really well. He's great in coverage. He's a great leader. He's got great athletic ability. I mean, he just has everything you want in a middle linebacker, man. Everything.
Yeah, and him falling to the 32nd pick would just be criminal, man,
Yeah,
honestly.
it really would. It really would.
So, regarding the same subject, after the Kuiper and Yates mock draft, my next headline or deadline is Tetero McMillan will fall outside the top 10 as projected, or outside the top 20 as projected on their mock draft.
Yeah, they had him going 25 to the Houston Texans, man, and that's a little scary thing about if you pair him with Nico Collins. I mean, honestly,
No, it's terrifying.
yeah, for sure. But I think Ted McMillan could end up being a bust in this draft. I said that on Monday. If I had to pick a bust in the first round, I would go with him. So it made sense to me, to be honest. I think Luther Burden's a better receiver. I think Travis Hunter's a better receiver. Mecca Egbuka's a better receiver to me as well.
Matthew Golden in their draft went like 9th or something, didn't he?
No, 12th to the Cowboys.
12th?
That's where I really think that's what's going to end up happening. A lot of people got the Cowboys pegged for a running back, but Golden 12 to the Cowboys makes too much sense because they have not had a weapon opposite of CD Lamb that's been good enough to take away attention from CD Lamb, and that just opens up your offense in such a prolific way if you can get that guy. So I think that makes sense for them.
Who was the opposing receiver? I picked him up for a week in fantasy and just regretted it.
Brandon Cooks?
No.
Yeah, well, he was the second receiver on the Cowboys.
Yeah, but he was traded halfway through the season, wasn't he?
No.
Yeah, he was.
It was?
Yeah, there was another guy on their team, man, that was
I have no idea.
Catching passes, but
they have no number 2 receiver.
I picked him up in fantasy and I was regretful of it. Speaking of regret, headline or deadline, the Bears would regret drafting Tyler Warren over Ashton Genty.
That's a tough one. Honestly, I really do think highly of both of those players. I think Ashton Genty is going to be a pretty immediate impact guy. I think it's tougher for a tight end to perform as a rookie in the NFL than it is for a running back, especially depending on the offense you end up in. I mean, Sean Lugo, our co-host here, will say that he's a weapon. You can put him anywhere. But I just want to say, Brock Bowers was an anomaly. That's not the norm. That's not consistent. I mean, the chance of 2 rookie tight ends having those types of rookie years back to back are just, the odds of that are so low given history. But Tyler Warren's a really good player. I think if you're talking instant impact, Genty's going to make it. And I think they're both going to be really good players. I wouldn't be disappointed with either one of them at 10. I think in a Ben Johnson offense, either one of them will flourish. Genty will do more as a rookie in Ben Johnson's offense. So, I mean, would it be a mistake? I don't know. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those players. I think you're going to do better early on with Genty. So I don't know if I can say headline or deadline, to be honest.
I'm going to say a headline here. Now, this is the reason. By the way, that receiver's name is Jalen Tolbert.
Okay, whatever.
I'm going to say headline just because let's say that he is one of the league's best tight ends. You're still talking on this offense about potentially 4 to 5 touches per game. And Ashton Genty's, if he's by all measures the player he's projected
He's
to be,
15 to 20. He's 15 to 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably making a much bigger impact just in terms of usage alone. And then, like you said, Dustin, the odds of Tyler Warren being that, especially after we just had a draft with a guy who's probably going to be the best in the league, it just feels very. It feels like a halfway into the season, you might be saying, "Man,
Kind of
if they
wish
had
we
just
would have went with
done
Genty.
this instead of
Yeah.
that." Yeah, that's just what it feels like to me. And like you
And then
said, Tyler Warren a year down the road could be a monster, but he's just not going to have that impact for you, I don't think, as a rookie.
then you've got multiple draft pundits talking about how Colston Loveland is on par with
Yeah,
Tyler Warren.
Yates and
Matt
Kuiper had him high, real high, like
Well,
14%.
he's gonna go high. People think a lot more highly of him in terms of evaluators think a lot more highly of him than the common than us than me and you. They do, and so that gives me pause as well. And Matt Miller just came out today and said he would take Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, and he's a guy that I respect in terms of his opinion, and he watches a lot of tape. So there's smoke to that fire in some way. And I mean, I know Kyle just said the other day that he would hate that would be the draft move that pissed him off. The Bears took Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. But more and more people are saying these guys are neck and neck and Loveland might be better. I don't agree with that. But if it's that close, it's tough, man. It's tough to say, let's take that tight end who could have an impact, could not, versus this running back that could change your offense completely and make Caleb's life so much easier so quickly.
Well, yeah, and right after the Bears went to Ann Arbor to see Michigan's pro day, they had a top 30 visit with Mason Taylor, and Sean and Kyle both asked me on that show, how do you feel about this? We were just going through each top 30. They said, how do you feel about this one? I said, you were just at Michigan. I'd rather have Colston Loveland no matter what that took, because he's kind of an identical frame. He's a much better blocker, and he's a much better pass guy. He's just a better player.
He's a great inline blocker. He's an all-around good tight end. I mean, he's a lot better, like I said, than people are giving him credit for, and he is going to go high in this draft. He will be in the top 20, it seems like, and he's going to be a solid player in the NFL. I like Mason Taylor as well. I just think the more and more that we get closer to this draft, the Bears are going to pull the trigger on Genty if they have the opportunity, even if it means a potential trade up for a couple of spots to just make sure they lock him down. I think the Bears are enamored with this kid, and they're going to want him. So I think it's a headline for the Bears. If I'm being honest, I think Genty is a guy that they have their eyes on.
Yeah, I think that they're starting to. It seems pretty apparent that they feel he's going to be one of those players like a Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley. He's going to have that kind of impact.
Game changing. That's the way they look at him. You can't pass on that if you think that.
Yeah, his wins above replacement. You know what I mean? Like this guy.
Hold on. So let's just. I just want to read the letter he sent to the NFL teams, because this makes you like him an awful lot.
Yeah,
too.
I was laughing at that.
I love this. Ashton Genty's letters to the GMs in the NFL. I've taken the long way. I'm done with that way. If you pick me, it's simple. I'm coming to your franchise to do what Saquon and the Eagles just did. I'm going to win big soon. It's tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I draft the guy they can't tackle. Thank you for your time, Ashton Genty. That takes some balls to send that out to the NFL owners. And I mean, I love it.
Thank you for your time. That's the icing on the cake.
I draft the guy they can't tackle. and that is a very true statement, man, because his contact balance, when a guy puts a hat on him, he finds a way to maintain and stay on his feet and really not lose a lot of speed. That's something you don't coach or train. It's just a natural ability. that's hard to
He's most
find.
comparable to a pinball, man. He just kind of keeps bouncing off of things, but somehow gains speed in doing so. It's
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, watching you can say whatever you want about Mountain West or whatever you want to say. Watching that kid was impressive, and I wanted to kind of dislike him through seeing his last year in college because I wanted Cam Ward to be the Heisman finalist. But I just every time I watch this kid's highlights, it's just so hard to not be impressed with him, man.
And I think the Bears are going to take him if they have the opportunity. So we're both saying, I guess you're saying headline. I don't think it'd be a mistake, so I don't like the wording, but
Well, regret, yeah.
I guess, yeah.
But while we're talking about what a player said in Ashton Genty's letter, this next headline, after I spit it and we kind of talk about there was something that was released today that we both found very interesting. Headline or deadline, Aaron Rodgers will be playing in the NFL in 2025.
I think that's a headline. I think you just watch the NFL every year, and there's always a team that ends up needing a quarterback, even if it's not at the beginning of the season, right? Like it could be halfway through the season and your quarterback gets injured. You're a potential playoff team. Signing Aaron Rodgers there's been worse quarterbacks signed in the middle of the season to try to lead a team to the playoffs than fucking Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's a headline that he will be playing in the NFL, and I think it's just a matter of when. And I think he's a guy that he'll wait for the right situation and take his time, man. And he said it himself. He said it himself. Retirement isn't off the table. He said that on the Pat McAfee show today. And what else did he say on the Pat McAfee show today?
It's a headline for me as well. I do think that he's signed by a team. I think he's signed before the season starts, and I think Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy that I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs an off season really to get back on the field and play some football. So
since you just said that, it just sparked something in my head. I've been saying this for months, and I have nothing to back it up except a hunch. I think Aaron Rodgers to the Titans makes a shit ton of sense. I know they're going to draft Cam Ward, and they're going to want to see him, but Nashville, Aaron Rodgers, that makes sense. And if you can insulate yourself from having to throw Cam Ward out there right away, that could be something worth entertaining. He visited the Steelers. Nothing happened there. The Steelers are an option, right? People were talking about the Giants. They went with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. These spots are drying up. So if you're talking about start of the season, I could see I just for some reason see a match between him and the Titans for a 1 year thing, not to just start, but also to help Cam Ward get better. Aaron Rodgers hasn't really been the type to do that, but he's at a point in his career where it's a little different than he was in Green Bay with Jordan Love. So, I mean, I could see the Titans making a lot of sense for Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know why. I have nothing to back that up.
I wouldn't hate to see him signed to a 1 year deal in LA, man.
LA where?
Justin Herbert to the Chargers. Justin Herbert is not who people thought he was. I'm going to continue to say this. I'm going to beat this to death. I don't think Jim Harbaugh eventually moves forward with this guy. I think they somehow find a way to remove him from that roster. And
well, that's a hot ass fucking take, man. Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback. I got to disagree with you on that. And I think Harbaugh's going to make him a better quarterback. And he already started last year, and it's only going to get better. I think you're very wrong about that. LA for him would make more sense.
You thought he was better last year? I still think he's on the decline, man. I don't think. I think his rookie season impressed me more than anything he's done in his career.
He's going to be better at winning. And he can make every damn throw on the field. He still has that physical ability.
I mean, we know Harbaugh's going to take the ball out of his hands as much as he possibly can.
Well, not as much as he's going to try to control the game, and then he's going to have him make the one or two big throws you need throughout the game to win it. And I think Herbert is going to get better because of that. I think LA, if you're talking LA with Aaron Rodgers, the Rams make a lot more sense, to be honest. You know, Matthew Stafford's health is always a concern. He's a guy like halfway through the season, the Rams pull the trigger on that because Stafford gets hurt and you reunite him with Adams.
When you said that, I was thinking Ravens because every time Lamar's gone down, that Tyler Huntley or whoever it is they throw in there cannot get this team to the playoffs. So
yeah, it's just hard with that because you're running a completely different offense. The reason they go with Huntley is because he can run somewhat of a similar offense to the one you're already running with Lamar Jackson. Everybody else doesn't have to change what they're doing. You know, you got to change a lot if you go from Lamar Jackson to Aaron Rodgers, and that's everybody, the offensive line, the receivers, everything. So
Yeah, you're going from the most mobile to the
to the least. Yeah, that's tough. So I and
what?
then I just want to say what Rogers described on the Pat McAfee show
Oh yeah.
today. Yeah, I want to get into that. What he described on the Pat McAfee show today, that he flew across country to have a conversation with Aaron Glenn, the new head coach of the Jets, and then what he thought would be a long meeting discussing the future and how it's going to go about it. I mean, the way he described Aaron Glenn, that sounded off-putting as hell. And I don't find any reason to distrust Aaron Rodgers and his recantation of that story. To be honest, Aaron Rodgers is a dick, but he's always honest. That's one
Yeah,
thing that he
he's a
always is.
populist. He's going to tell the truth even when it's probably
Yeah,
not in his
it's
best favor. Like
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to read exactly how it was told to me. This is his quote. I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. Then he comes back with the GM, and I'm like, all right. So we sit down, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. And 20 seconds in, Glenn says, are you sure you want to play football? Roger says, yes. Glenn immediately responds with, we're going in another direction. That is the
Yeah,
strangest back and forth conversation for a guy that you flew across the country, man.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
And
like,
then he also said, like, because I don't want you in the back of. He said that Glenn said, I don't want you in the back of the room while I'm announcing this to the team, like suggesting that Aaron Rodgers would be working against the new head coach. And he's like, I don't know. It was just very weird. It sounded contentious when it didn't need to be. Like, you don't know the guy, he don't know you. Let's get to know each other and just have a real conversation. And then Rogers pointed out also, like, you could have just had this conversation with me over the phone.
yeah, yeah.
Like, dude, that's more of a respectful thing to do. It felt very disrespectful. It seems like very Jetsy as well, like more dysfunction with the Jets. And I know some people, because of their dislike for Aaron Rodgers, are saying like, well, oh, Aaron Glenn, he handled that well. I like Aaron Glenn better because of how he handled this. Why do you need to stick it to Aaron Rodgers if he's not going to be on your team anyways? You've never worked with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Glenn has never worked with Rodgers. What vendetta is there to settle there? Why you need to
Yeah.
put him in his place? It doesn't make sense. That's just not the way to do
And regardless of
business
how you
in
feel
my
about
mind.
Aaron Rodgers, that was the worst way to handle it. That's a
Yeah.
totally unprofessional manner to handle that in. And I don't why he leaves the room to bring his GM to what approve.
Listen, I liked Aaron Glenn as a coaching candidate, and I think it might end up being a good hire for the Jets. I've said that. So, and I don't know Aaron Glenn really, and I don't know Aaron Rodgers. I'm just hearing what Aaron Rodgers is saying. There's two sides to every story. Maybe Glenn's is different. I would imagine it is. But if that's how it went down, that's that's shitty. Just not a fan of the way the Jets handled that, and honestly, that you expect the Jets and their organization to handle things in that way. And Aaron Rodgers is becoming a caricature of himself, anyways, as it is. So I don't know who to believe, but Rodgers doesn't strike me again as a guy that would be lying about it on national TV.
No, and I think he knows if he did, he'd probably be called out pretty quickly. I would imagine he told the truth. And the Jets haven't responded in any way, shape, or form, so I would imagine it's true.
Mm.
Last headliner deadline, man. Ben Johnson will be a candidate for Coach of the Year, or a finalist, I should say. Everybody's a candidate.
You know, I would love to say headline, and it's always that the probability of it is higher than I think other coaches. I mean, you got to consider Vrabel, right? You got to consider Ben Johnson. You got to consider Aaron Glenn. A lot of times it's this new head coach that's taken over for a team that was downtrodden the year before, and they get a spark of energy and they defy expectations and get 4 or 5 more wins than what they were expected to get. And those are the guys that become the easy pick for coach of the year. So Ben Johnson has an easy path to it. So, like, yeah, I want to say headline, Brandon, because I think he's showing that he has strength in the areas that we were concerned about going into the hiring process, which made us both want Vrabel more than Ben Johnson because we knew what he was capable of in terms of leadership. But Ben Johnson has showed he has leadership in spades from my perspective so far from everything I've seen, and he's an offensive mastermind. So you put those two things together with the accountability he's going to have for this team, you could see them turning a 5-win team into a 8 or 9 win team, and him getting serious consideration for that award, man. I could see a headline that
Yeah,
being a headline.
I was just gonna say, man, I think if he were to come anywhere near 10 wins after a 10
The
game losing
disaster.
streak
Yeah, the disaster that
last
was
season,
last season. Yeah.
that would be enough for sure. And if he's even competing for a playoff seed, he's got to be in the conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think that's a headline, man.
I agree.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Headlines, deadlines, brought to you by Brandon Duplessis on
Well,
forward
that
slash
was
Chicago
fun.
Sport.
We should do this more often.
um, what do we got next, man? You want to get into this mock? We're gonna do a first round mock where we alternate picks. Do you want the first pick? Do you want me to have the first pick? How do you call it, man? I don't give a shit.
I'll take the first pick because I'm going to take what everybody knows is going to happen. So I want, yeah, you go ahead and take the second pick because that'll be the first real challenge.
And you just gave me the Bears pick too by doing that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get into this. Let me
I like
pull
doing this every team thing. This is going to be fun.
I hope so.
I've said all these Bears podcasts. It's just Bears, Bears, Bears. This is going to be cool to try to put a different spin on, give a different perspective of mock drafting and podcasting.
All right. Can you see me?
I can see you.
I probably should have picked all these teams before we did this.
It's going to be really hard to control the chat here.
Dude, I mean, last week the chat was jumping, and this week just nothing.
We were blowing up.
Yeah, man. And really, it comes down to we didn't share this show, we didn't advertise it. Hopefully, people go back and watch. You know, one of our many subscribers that are used to our shows being on Thursday. I know a lot of people catch it on Friday because we're on so late. I mean, it's okay. We got a few people with us. It's still fun, and yeah, whoever's watching, if you guys got any comments, please throw them in the chat. Public versus PFF board. Let's go half and half on that.
What is it?
It's the rank, basically how it goes. It's gonna predict picks based. I guess it doesn't matter. We're doing every fucking pick. I don't know why I'm fucking with this. All right. So you're gonna have to tell me who you want, and I'll pick them for you. We're gonna start the draft right now. You're going with Cam Ward, correct?
Correct. Now we're doing this as honestly as we can, guys. So yes.
Yeah, no, we want this to be accurate. Cam Ward's going to be the first overall pick.
And we're going to revisit this. We're going to see how close we came to this, man. So I think Cam Ward will be the first pick.
Okay, so Cam Ward's the first pick to the Titans. That seems, again, like fait accompli. I got Travis Hunter here as my number 2 pick to the Browns. I think the Browns just need talent, man. I think Travis Hunter is the most talented player in this draft, and it's going to be hard for them to pass him up. They do need a quarterback because of the situation with Deshaun Watson and how bad they're going to struggle with his contract and his lack of performance. So Shedeur Sanders could be an option here, I think, for them, more so than people give it credit for. But Travis Hunter's too hard to pass up on for the Cleveland Browns. He can impact your team in any spot. So I'm going with him there for the Browns.
All right, Dustin. We're trying to do this as accurately as possible, but I'm going to throw the first wrench in here right now, man. I'm going to say Shedeur Sanders goes here to the Giants.
I could see, again, Giants, another team, as I said when we were talking about Shedeur Sanders, that could really be, and it was just let out today that the Giants, front office and coaching, they're all split on the Shedeur Sanders thing. There's people that want Shedeur, and there's people that don't, and they still haven't figured it out. They're still doing workouts with multiple quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders being one of them. And I think they're a very real possibility for Shedeur, man. I don't think it's a wrench. I think that's a solid prediction based on what we're hearing out of New York right now. And Shedeur Sanders being the second best quarterback in this draft, the Giants have to strongly consider it, man. All right, so for me, then, this becomes really easy. I mean, most mocks you see Will Campbell going to the Patriots. They do need that blindside protector for Drake May. But I mean, if Abdul Carter, I think the most unrealistic thing here, though, is that Abdul Carter falls out of the top 3. So yeah, I guess it was a wrench. But I think the Patriots can't pass on Abdul Carter if he's there at 4, man. So given how this is going, Abdul Carter, I think Will Campbell will end up being the pick for the Patriots. But in this situation, we're going to go Abdul Carter to the Patriots because you just can't pass up on that talent.
Oh, I hate even saying it, man, but Jaguars take Mason Graham.
Why do you hate saying it? Because you want Graham to fall?
Yeah. Because I think if he made it past Jacksonville, there'd be a little bit of a slide there.
Yeah. Okay. Mason Graham going to the Jaguars. And I think that that's a pretty consensus pick right now. Um, the Raiders, you know, everyone, and it's losing a little steam. Ashton Genty going 6 to the Raiders. The Raiders have too many needs, people are saying, to take a running back. The Raiders had an awful run offense last year, man. Just awful. But they also had a terrible defense overall. And I think cornerback is a place that they're going to need to look. And they have Jahdae Barron ranked ahead of Will Johnson. And I think Jahdae Barron is the pick here, man. I had originally said Will Johnson is the best cornerback in this draft over Travis Hunter, but I think Jahdae Barron is the best cornerback in this draft over all of them. And he's going to be a fucking stud in the NFL. The Raiders would get a hell of a player at 6, Jahdae Barron, impact that defense. PFF has their number one need being running back, man, but I don't know. Jahdae Barron going to be hard for them to pass up on. They need to impact their defensive backfield.
All right, we're going to talk about the Jets getting more Jetsy. I think the Jets, who have been mocked by almost everybody, taking Armand Membu. They do need a right tackle, but I think we have Will Campbell available. I think they take Will Campbell here.
Yeah. Even with his short arms?
Even with his short arms, I think if you have any doubt about this guy playing left tackle, the best thing for him would be to play right tackle, not guard.
Interesting. Now, the one thing that's crazy, man. So you're going to go Will Campbell to the Jets. There have been reports coming out recently that Membu, there's a lot of people that think he's going to be the first offensive lineman taken in this draft, that he has the best physical traits for that position. So you're going Will Campbell at 7 to the Jets. Yes? Okay.
Yep.
I would have put Membu there, to be honest. But right now we got the Panthers at number 8. Their top needs are wide receiver, edge, and DB. The best edge on the board is Mike Green. They could go Shamar Stewart here. I think that that's a really high probability. But if you got Will Johnson on the board, and they do need a receiver too. I mean, Ted McMillan could make a lot of sense for them. I just think McMillan is just not as good as people think. And I think Will Johnson is really good. So I think the best talent for them here is going to be Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan.
He's going Will Johnson. 2 cornerbacks.
Yeah, in the top 10. Interesting. I think that the Saints having a need as number one, their number one need is running back is a little strange, don't you? I mean, Alvin Kamara is getting up there in age, and he does have some health issues, but he had a damn good season this past year.
Yeah, the Saints need a whole lot, man. What the Saints not need, honestly.
Top 3 needs are running back, wide receiver, and D line. And there has been some speculation that they could take a quarterback, even if Shedeur Sanders is gone. They could take Jackson Dart here at number 9. That's been bantied about as well.
I think I'm gonna do something crazy again, man.
I thought we were supposed to be realistic.
I am though. I'm
okay.
Based on the way I think these players are ranked, I think they go Jalen Walker.
Jalon Walker, really? Interesting. Yeah. You know, Jalon Walker to the Panthers would have made a lot of sense, and maybe I messed up our draft by not putting him there. Jalon Walker is all the way ranked down at 24, average draft position of 18. Saints going Jalon Walker. PFF has their top 3 needs as running back, wide receiver, D line. We're putting him on the Saints. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that leaves Ashton Genty here for the Bears. And if I'm making this pick for the Bears, everything that I'm hearing, everything that is being put out there says that the Bears are in love with Ashton Genty and that they would not be able to pass up on him if he were to fall to 10. So Ashton Genty is the pick in the first round for the Chicago Bears. Running back is their number one need according to PFF. So that's where we're going. You don't think the Saints would take Genty in this situation, Brandon?
I don't know. I think their defense needs a playmaker.
Okay. That's fair.
Not just like a solid player at his position, but a guy who can make an impact all over the field.
So the top 10 falls this way, and it leads to the Bears getting Genty at 10. Cam Ward, number 1. Travis Hunter, 2. We went Shador Sanders, 3 to the Giants. Abdul Carter, I picked to go to the Patriots. Brandon went Mason Graham to the Jaguars. I went Jahdae Barron over Will Johnson at cornerback for the Raiders. I think they really need that position locked up. And then Brandon went Will Campbell over Armand Membu to the Jets. Will Johnson went to the Panthers. And then Jalon Walker over Ashton Genty here leads Ashton Genty at 10 for the Bears. And again, I just think the likelihood of the Bears passing up on Genty if he's there at 10 is 0. I think that would be their pick in this situation, man. Niners are on the clock at 11. Do something good for my Niners, man.
Give me their needs, man.
Top needs are guard, tackle, D-line, cornerback. Now, offensive line, I think offensive line is where they're going to attack.
I was going to say Calvin Banks.
Going Calvin Banks?
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that pick for the Niners. I think it makes a lot of sense for them, and he could be the heir apparent to Trent Williams once that deal's up and he's out of here. And they could throw him at right tackle until then. It's a hell of a pick for the Niners. At 12 to the Cowboys, as we just talked about, man, I think Matthew Golden makes too much sense for them. And I think they're going to be enamored with his speed and his ability to pull attention away from CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they're going to go running back here. I think they're going to go receiver and get that second receiver across from CeeDee Lamb that they really have not had. Matthew Golden to the Cowboys.
Well, I think I know why we're not getting anybody in our chat, Dustin.
Why is that?
I was kind of curious. I can't find the airing of this show currently on my YouTube on anywhere, my computer, my phone. Sean left it on private.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good thing to find out at 57 minutes into the show.
And I don't know that I can change that while it's actually being aired.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, sorry. Calvin Banks, did you already choose the Cowboys?
Jesus Christ. I did. Matthew Golden, man.
Matthew Golden. I like
We're on
that.
the Dolphins at 13.
Yeah, we already took the 2 best corners off the board, which is by all measures where the Dolphins are going, man.
Bro, the YouTube notification just came across. This is ass. You were able to fix it. Jesus. All right, 13 to the Dolphins, bro. What do you got?
Ah, boy. Give me their needs. As far as
top need is guard, tackle, offensive line. It makes sense. Defensive line, cornerback.
All right, I'll give the Dolphins Membu.
Armand Membu to the Dolphins makes a lot of sense. Could be versatile for that offensive line. Could play right tackle, could play guard. That's a good pick for them. I think they'll be ecstatic if he falls to them at 13. 14, the Colts. All right. This makes too much sense. Colts haven't had a tight end since Dallas Clark. We're going to go Tyler Warren to the Colts. Makes way too much sense. And that's their number one need. What do you know? All right, very good. Tyler Warren to the Colts, 14. We got the Falcons at 15, Brandon. What are we doing here? Another receiver, Tedero McMillan?
Yeah, let's go Ted.
Seriously? Their number one need is wide receiver. How is their number one need wide receiver every single season?
Yeah, it is a position they need. That's for sure, dude.
With London and Mooney? Okay. Going Ted McMillan to the Falcons at 15. I think that's another dumb pick for the Falcons, but let's do it. 16 Cardinals. Number one needs are guard, D line, cornerback. Um, what are we looking at here? A whole lot of wow. Look at Omar Norman Lott, ranked 27 by PFF. They really like him. Wow. Okay. So the Cardinals, honestly, every time I think about them, I don't know what makes sense for them. I really don't. But I guess I would say that Walter Nolan does. They do need D line help. I think Walter Nolan is a stud at the defensive tackle position. Let's give him Walter Nolan. Anybody who's just joining us, the show was set up. I was working all day. I had nothing to do with this, but the show was set up to be private instead of public. So the notification just went out, even though we've been going for an hour. So thank you for joining us. Go back and watch the beginning if you feel so inclined. I think it's been a good show. You let us know. But if you got anything to throw in the chat, we are here for you. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties on 4 stars. It's gonna happen. We're learning, we're growing. It's part of the fucking process.
Technical forgetfulness. I'm going Jihad Campbell. Here's 17 to the Bengals.
Wow, really? Number one needs guard, D line, linebacker. Jihad Campbell wow, that would just make a huge impact on that team. My favorite player in the draft going 17 to the Bengals. Very nice, Brandon. I love that pick. The Bengals need help on defensive line. Did you see something in the chat that made you laugh? No.
No, the way you said Jihad Campbell going to the Bengals, like it aggravated you.
I love Joe Burrow, and hopefully he gets some help on that defensive side of the ball. But Jihad Campbell would go a long way in doing that. I like that pick. I do. The Seahawks are now on the clock. They need offensive line help badly in every kind of way. And, a guy that just continues to get shit on in this draft process, who I think is a top 10 player in this draft, is Tyler Booker. And if you need a guard, I think you want Tyler Booker. And
I expect Tyler Booker to surprise people during this draft, like where he's taken. I expect him to be taken early out of the blue.
I think he's one of the best players in this draft, and NFL teams have to know that. If I think that, there's got to be some NFL team that thinks that. The Seahawks need a guy that will set the tone for their offensive line. Tyler Booker is a mauler. He's a badass, and he would change an offensive line. So we're going Tyler Booker, 18 to the Seahawks. Top 10 player in this draft, guys. Book it. You're on the clock. 19 Buccaneers, Brandon. Their top needs are edge, linebacker, DB.
I'm going Eamon Worry.
That's a good pick. That's exactly what I would have done for the Buccaneers. You put Eamon Worry with Winfield, man, and you are cooking with gas.
He's the best player at this position. They're getting him at 19, man.
I think he is too. But I mean, I don't know. There's got to be something off of these ranks. There's no way he's 67 ranked by PFF. That doesn't make any sense. Eamon Worry. Okay. Right now we are on the clock with the Broncos, and I think this is going to be where your second running back is taken in this draft. The Broncos really need help there. They don't really have anybody in that backfield that can carry the load, and Omarion Hampton makes way too much sense for them. If he falls to them at 20, they will run to turn in the card with his name on it. We're at 21, Brandon. You get to pick for the Steelers. Mike, what are you giving Mike Tomlin?
Malachi Starks.
Top needs, QB, running back, tackle, safety. So you are giving them one of their top needs. Malachi Starks, wow, that could be interesting.
I think they would have picked Hampton if he had fallen to the, what I mean? I was going to say Hampton to the Steelers, but
Well, you still got other running backs here, Brandon.
I know, but I think they can wait. I think okay. I'm trying to think realistically for the Steelers.
Yeah, Starks is a great talent in this draft, and he's fallen a little bit here in terms of where other people think. I think Eamon Warrior is the better safety than him, so it makes sense the way this is going about. Starks to the Steelers. Very interesting pick. The Chargers, a lot of mocks have them taking a running back. I mean, they just signed Najee Harris. I think wide receiver is their biggest need. They don't really have anybody besides Ladd McConkey. They went back and got Mike Williams. Maybe they'll go get Keenan Allen again. Wide receiver, tight end, D line. Now, the one thing that I will say here is that Colston Loveland makes too much damn sense for the Chargers. Former head coach.
Where did we send Warren?
To the Colts, man. Were you paying attention?
Oh, that's right.
Yep. Colston Loveland's going to go to the Chargers here at pick 22. Second biggest need is tight end. He can be a pass catcher for you. He can bring a good hit you in the mouth mentality to this team that Harbaugh wants. And Harbaugh has experience with the guy. Makes total sense, right?
Indeed.
Packers on the clock. We're going to forfeit their pick. Wide receiver, edge, cornerback. Biggest needs for the Packers. And Fioris, what up, man? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we went Loveland.
I think the Packers are going to – I would really believe that they're going to do something that doesn't make sense for them. I'm going to say Mike Green.
Edge makes total sense for them. And Mike
Green,
but
they've already got a guy in Van Ness who's not really fitting their defensive scheme, and I don't think Green does either, but I think they're going to take him.
Shamar Stewart could make sense here. The edges have been neglected.
Shamar Stewart was mocked there by Mel Kiper.
Yep. The edges have been neglected, tremendously in this draft so far. If this is the way this goes, you're going to have some really good edges falling far in this draft. So we're going Mike Green to the Packers?
Yep.
Interesting. I would go Mikael Williams or Shamar Stewart over him, but okay. Vikings are now on the clock. You got the 23-24 pick, division rivals picking back-to-back. Vikings running back, and they don't have a lot of picks in this draft. They got to get this pick right. Running back, defensive line, DB are their number one needs. Running back-wise, I don't see the guy that they should take here in this spot. What's up? Go ahead.
I could see Kenneth Grant if he was available going, because their middle of their defensive line is where they're really hurting, man.
Kenneth Grant, I think Derek Harmon fits their defensive system.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Harmon. Yeah,
I think Harmon I would go here over Kenneth Grant in this situation, so I'm going to give them.
And now you got Norman Lott all the way up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These rankings are a little off. I don't know if I did something.
All right, this next one's easy for me.
Wide receiver, O-line are their only two needs.
Going Luther Burden.
Luther Burden, really? So you're going to pair him with Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and that's a little scary, man. Given C.J. Stroud, Luther Burden. I think I'm hoping and praying Luther Burden falls to the second round, around when the Bears pick at 39. There's no way. The same way I don't feel like they would pass up on Genty if he's there at 10 at this point. If Burden was there at 39, there's no way they would pass up on him. But you're going to give him to the Texans.
No, your slot receiver would be a number one receiver on 15 other teams in the NFL. That'd be nuts.
Star player, this guy, Luther Burden. I think he's getting slept on because of a lack of production, but I don't think he was in an offense that was going to showcase him, to be honest. So Burden, 25 to the Texans. We got the LA Rams on the clock at 26. Their top needs are tight end, tackle, linebacker, cornerback. They've been watching all these guys that could have been on their team just slip. But I think they take a chance on Josh Simmons here, Brandon.
I was just going to say, I think that's a perfect pick, too, because they still have, since they lost, what's his name, 2 years ago?
The guy who's on the Thursday Night Football, that awful Andrew Whitworth.
They still haven't recovered from that, man.
God, those guys suck so bad. I can't stand their programming.
Yeah, they're not good.
But Josh Simmons to the Rams makes a whole lot of sense here, and that's what we're going to do. His precipitous fall has stopped. Packers go edge. I'd hate for Grant to go to the Vikings. Amphiora says, appreciate you jumping in the chat, man. You got the Ravens on the clock, Brandon, at 27. Their top needs are guard, edge, and DB.
I've been thinking about it. I'm going Gray Zabel.
Going Gray Zabel here, huh? I might try to give him Donovan as Azaraku if I was you, but Gray Zabel. I mean, they got him listed at tackle, but he's going to play
I,
guard in
th-
the NFL.
I think his draft stock's rising.
You know who I would take over Gray Zabel if I was the Ravens here?
Josh Connerly.
No, Donovan Jackson.
Oh.
Donovan Jackson is going to be a better guard in the NFL.
Yeah, and I don't know why he's listed at tackle. Why is he listed at tackle?
Again, I don't know. PFF is pissing me off with.
Yeah, he's really not a tackle.
Their rankings.
He wasn't a tackle.
No. Well, he played tackle. The last half was he filled in for Josh Simmons when Simmons got hurt, and he did it very admirably.
Did you see the Phil Yates, Mel Kiper, Phil Yates mock draft? Did you see who the Bears got at 72?
Yeah, dude, I'm blanking on it though. Just share it, please.
It was Ursery.
Yeah, Ariante Ursery. Yeah, that's right. They went like all offense for the Bears. It was I kind of like the draft they came up with for the Bears, to be honest. Yeah. So you're going to go Gray Zabel over Donovan Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. I will go Donovan Jackson. I think you're making a mistake there. We got the Lions at 20.
I think the Ravens just made a mistake is what happened.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would have gone Donovan Azaraku for the Ravens because he's going to really fit that 3-4 defense coming off that edge, and he might be the best all-around pass rusher in this, just straight pass rusher in this draft, man.
I don't consider the wide receiver one of the Lions' top needs. I mean,
when you're talking about Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean,
it's a place they could improve, but I don't think it's a top need for them.
Yeah, no, guard, edge, linebacker.
I would say edge and linebacker more than the other two positions for sure.
I think Michael Williams falling to the Lions here is crazy good for them. They need help on the opposite side of Hutchinson. They tried to do it with Zadarius Smith last year, and obviously didn't really work out too well. So it's between Shamar Stewart and Michael Williams. I think Michael Williams is the more polished prospect and the safer bet. So the Lions are going to go with Michael Williams here. And now you have the next logical place for an edge rusher between the Commanders and the Lions. Those both have big needs for edge rusher. I think the Commanders are going to be highly focused on getting a pass rusher in the first round.
Listen, I'm going to say this, man. We've taken Golden off the board. We've taken Tetero. We've taken Burton. I think if the Washington Commanders have a shot at one of those wide receivers, I don't care what PFF calls their needs. They're taking a skill wide receiver.
I disagree with you completely.
Their offense is porous, man, at that
Their defense was worse, Brandon. Their defense was worse. And
terrible.
They have no pass rush. They have no pass rush.
They need to help McLaurin, man.
Amphiorus says he's enjoying the draft. Agree with it a lot. Appreciate you, Amphiorus. I'm sure you hit that like button. But if you didn't, please do. Washington on the clock.
I'm going to go as Azaraku.
That's an interesting pick. I would go Shamar Stewart for them if I was making the pick. Donovan Azaraku, like I just said, I think might be the best pure pass rusher in this draft. His size concerns me, but Dan Quinn's found a way to use smaller guys to get after the quarterback in all of his defenses, even though he runs that base 4-3. We're going to go with Donovan Azaraku here. I've seen that in a few mocks as well, I believe. Bills on the clock need an edge rusher badly. I think it comes down to, and that's the only thing I'm thinking of with the Bills, right, Brandon? Like, it's just pass rusher. That's the one thing that they fucking need to address as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. It's been awful.
You know who's a very interesting guy is Nick Scourton, the guy opposite of Shamar Stewart in that Texas A&M defense, who had more production, doesn't have as much of the physical traits that Shamar Stewart has, but might end up being the better prospect. I get that's a possibility. I don't think James Pierce makes sense. I think Shamar Stewart makes a lot of sense it's between Stewart and Scourton, man. That's what it is. Would you go Pierce or Stewart?
For the Bills, I'd go Stewart.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to give the Bills Shamar Stewart, addressing a major need for them in the edge rush.
All right, I'm going to do it again, man.
What do you got? The Chiefs are going to get. Look at who's available for the Chiefs right now. Their biggest needs are offensive line, Brandon.
I was going to say Connerly.
Connerly, really? Let's just look just to double check. Guard is their number one need. Tackle is their second need.
Connerly is a tackle by all measures.
He
Who's
is
left at guard?
Connerly is maybe I keep saying
Oh,
potential.
Donovan Jackson. That's who I
Yeah,
would say the Chiefs take.
Donovan Jackson to replace Joe Tooney.
Yep.
Left tackle
I
is
mean, they got
Brandon.
Mahomes got destroyed.
You might have been right with the Josh Connerly thing, man, because Tooney had to play left tackle in that Super Bowl, and it fucked them up so bad that not having that left tackle secured really hurt them in the biggest game of the
All right,
season.
you convinced me of my old pick. I'm going
Gonna go Josh Connerly to the Chiefs at 31. The Chiefs are upset that Kelvin Banks did not fall like I've seen him do in other mocks, I would imagine. Josh Connerly is a hell of a pick. I think we've successfully eliminated all of the awesome players that we wouldn't want to fall into the Eagles, bro. So good job with that.
Well, why are the Eagles need? Why is their need wide receiver?
When you have AJ Brown and Donovan Smith, how does that make sense? I'm going to give them a Mecca Igbuka. Their number one needs, according to PFF, which can kiss my ass, honestly. I don't understand. Wide receiver, guard, edge, cornerback.
They could make something out of James Pierce in that defense, man.
Oh, of course they can. They can make something out of anybody in this defense. This is a tough pick, man, for me. It is. Are we missing anybody here? Because no, like I've seen the Eagles come away with way better players than what I'm about to give them in mocks. Well, and I mean, what I'll say is this: they love the defensive line, they love the trenches, and they can never have enough of it, man. It says that one of their needs is cornerback, so I'm tempted to give them Maxwell Hairston because I love Maxwell Hairston. I think he's one of the top cornerbacks in this draft.
Connerly is Amphiara's favorite left tackle in the draft. We like Connerly a lot.
Amphiara's is like simpatico with us, man. Yeah, I think he might end up being the best pure left tackle in this draft, and someone's going to get him, and the Chiefs did, and they got a steal. What do you think about Kenneth Grant to the Eagles?
They like that rotation, man.
Yeah, man.
They lost a very important piece in Milton Williams.
Yeah, exactly. And they can just draft another guy and just throw him right in there. Didn't have to pay Milton Williams. This makes too much sense for the Eagles.
Personally, Dustin, I don't think Jordan Davis is as good as everybody else thinks he is. I think he's aging.
Aging at a very young age.
He's not.
All right, we're going Kenneth Grant to the Eagles.
It's not a difference maker to me.
Okay, they're grading our draft as we speak.
Oh boy,
that play isn't our playbook yet. Just select up to 3 teams to get customized insights. What was our? Let's see here. I guess we picked too many teams to get graded, but the way our draft worked out, man, top 10. Number 1 was Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. Number 2, the Browns. 3, Shador Sanders to the Giants. 4, Abdul Carter. I mean, I think Vrabel's doing cartwheels if Abdul Carter falls to him, even though I think they want Will Campbell too. That's going to be a tough decision for them. Mason Graham to the Jaguars seems like that's a done deal. Jahdae Barron was one that, I could see this happening. I could see Jahdae Barron sneaking into the top 10 of this draft. He's worthy of a top 10 pick. And I think, at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident that he's the best cornerback in this draft, and the Raiders need help there in a big way. Will Campbell ended up on the Jets, man. Will Johnson ended up on the Panthers. Brandon picked Jalon Walker to go to the Saints, and that left me with the Bears pick at 10 and Ashton Genty sitting there. And me and Brandon both don't believe that the Bears will pass on Ashton Genty if he's available there at 10. Any of these picks stand out to you, man? I don't want to just go and list off everything, but I think this is an interesting first round draft in terms of
and then nothing feels too extreme to me, to be honest with you, man. I think the Packers, I reached there on Mike Green maybe, and I know you don't like Jalen Walker to the Saints, man, but I could see it. They need a difference maker on the defensive side of the football. That guy can play everywhere.
I could see Jalen Walker going anywhere from 8 to 26.
Yeah.
So like nothing.
He could really play for anyone.
Yeah, and and no one at the same time. I don't know. I think Tyler Booker, me putting him at 18 to the Seahawks, you're no mock is putting this guy in the first round right now. There's just very few of them that I'm seeing that don't have him outside of the first round, but I think he's the best guard in this draft. I think he's a top 10 player in this draft, and the Seahawks are going to get a steal with him at number 18. That might be my favorite pick of this draft is Jihad Campbell, 17 to the Bengals. And then right after that, Tyler Booker, 18 to the Seahawks. Those would be interesting back-to-back picks, back-to-back Alabama boys, man.
And I think Derek Harmon to the Vikings would make a hell of a lot of sense, man.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot of sense.
Flores would love to have that guy on his team.
With Greenard and Dallas Turner, they're good on the outside. They need a player like that, man. If he falls to them,
they'll be ecstatic.
That's gonna happen. That pick's gonna happen, bro.
Starks at 21.
Matthew Golden, the Cowboys. I agree. When I saw that from Mel Kiper, I was like, man, it makes too much sense. I think that kid's gonna surprise people. I think there's still a lot of people that think he's potentially a 15 to 25 round or 15 to 25 overall player, but he's gonna get picked higher than people anticipate for sure.
Another one that fell into place really nicely was Josh Simmons, 26 to the Rams. That makes a lot of sense. My least favorite pick of this draft is Gray Zabel to the Ravens at 27.
My least favorite pick that I made personally was Tetaroa to the Falcons.
The Falcons in the first round just every year drafting a position player and every year doing it again and sucking. Eventually you got to break that cycle, man. Get yourself and they just let, obviously the Bears just signed Grady Jarrett. They just let go the heart of their defense. I think a defensive tackle might end up being a sneaky pick there for the Falcons, Brandon. To be honest, a defensive line, some kind of game changer on defense for the Falcons. I think they're like almost obligated to not draft a skill position player again.
I think
in the first
Luther
round.
Burden to the Texans is a very real possibility.
I like that pick. In the Field Yates Kuiper one, they had McMillan, Tetaroa going 25 to the Texans, which is kind of crazy.
Warren, if he was available to the Colts, that's where he's going.
That's happening for sure. The Colts haven't had a tight end since Dallas Clark. That's worth talking about. And Tyler Warren would change their offense and make life a lot easier on the quarterback that they're still trying to develop, man.
I think the Niners are a much better team with Calvin Banks.
Yeah, no, that's a hell of a pick for the Niners. I would be very happy if the Niners came away with Kelvin Banks at 11, bro. Very happy. I don't know. What do you guys think of this draft, man? Josh Connerly, 31 to the Chiefs. Kenneth Grant, 32 to the Eagles. Those picks do still feel unfair. Like, how do these teams keep getting better at the very back end of the first round, getting studs like Josh Connerly and Kenneth Grant? Like, it's not fair. I guess I could have taken Josh Connerly to the Rams at 26, but then Josh Simmons is going to the Chiefs, and that still don't feel fair.
I think Josh Simmons to the Chiefs or the Rams was a good pick, man.
2 running backs in this first round. Omarion Hampton, 20 to the Broncos. Genty, 10 to the Bears. I like Colston Loveland to the Chargers. I think that's a very real possibility. And I really like Starks to the Steelers. That's an interesting addition to that defense.
When the talent kind of evens out between offense and defensive players, I feel like Tomlin's always going to choose defense. It's just I feel he always will.
Amphiorus, he agrees. Pete Carroll loves his cornerbacks. Yeah, and I think Jahdae Barron has shown himself to be the best cornerback in this draft, and they could pull the trigger there. And that's the one thing.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. That was one I didn't expect, but I was like, it could happen for sure.
Yeah, you thought I was going to go Will Johnson. I think because of the versatility that Jahdae Barron brings to your defensive backfield, because he's like a Kyler Gordon type, except he's really a lot better already on the boundary, I think, than Kyler Gordon was coming out of college. Jahdae Barron plays both really well between the slot and the outside, and Pete Carroll's going to love to move that guy around. I think that would be a hell of a pick for the Raiders. And I'm glad Amphiorus agrees. And then, yeah, he says Falcons need D-line bad. I agree. Yeah, I think they're obligated to take a pass rusher or a defensive tackle in this draft, man. I think going skill, that's just more of the same for them, and it has not produced good results. So that's something that stands out to me with this draft. And then I like the Donovan Ezeraku pick to the Commanders. I probably would have went Stewart if I was making that pick for them.
Oh, I
But
didn't even say, man, the pick that I thought was most fitting, and I think if he's available there, there's just no questioning it. I think Mel Kiper even took it in that mock from today, man. Him and Warrior to Tampa Bay.
that was my favorite pick of yours. That was my favorite pick of yours. Yeah, no. And yeah, that's what they picked as well. Antoine Winfield and Eamon Warrior together in at the safety positions. That would be scary to think about. And the Bucks really do need help in that
Oh, their
defensive
secondary is
backfield.
egregious, bro.
Yeah, man. So I mean, having two stud safeties back there makes life easier on your cornerbacks. They feel like they have help behind them if they let a guy up or if they
Well, they
even
do
get
have
beat,
help
taking
behind them
chance.
instead
Yeah,
of not having help.
exactly. So I mean, that would be a big coup for the Buccaneers if they were able to pull off Eamon Warrior at 19. That was my favorite pick of yours. What was your favorite pick of mine, Brandon? Tell me you love me.
Honestly, dude, you scroll up a little bit.
Let me get back on here. There you go.
I think I might have already said it, man, but you mean you're talking about like outside of things that we think will, like
I don't care.
Travis, like I think Travis Hunter's going to the Browns. I think you hit that on the fucking nail. I don't know if you heard today. They said
I take it back.
the
I already said.
versatility,
I
but
already said.
I think Jahdae Barron to the Raiders was my favorite pick because there's potential for that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not being mocked a lot. I'm not seeing that, but I think the Raiders going corner makes sense. And Jahdae Barron to me is the best corner in this draft, so that makes too much sense. My favorite pick of yours was actually Jahad Campbell to the Bengals. I think you changed their defense with that pick, bro.
Yeah, and if he's still available at 17, they'd be fucking stupid not to, right?
Yeah, man. Fiora says he enjoyed the draft. Really shows how many good players there are. Yeah, I mean that first round feels a lot deeper after doing that draft than you
It
think about
does,
it,
and when you're
right?
not just picking the Bears, it's like they
Yeah.
have still so much talent left on the board, bro.
And dude, I mean, and then you look at what was still available. I
No, I
mean,
know we haven't even gotten into the running backs really, besides Hampton and
yeah,
Genty.
Donovan Jackson was still there. Tyreek Williams still there. Who else? There was. I'm just blanking right now, but there was still a lot
Landon
of good.
Jackson, I
Landon
mean,
Jackson. Yep. I mean, he's not going to be a first round pick, but
that Higgins kid, who a lot of people are now projecting at the bottom of the first round, is that his name?
Higgins.
The
Oh,
receiver that can
Iowa
burn.
State. Yeah, Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
And why am I blanking on this guy's name again? Maxwell Hairston. I think he could be a potential first round level of play cornerback in the NFL. I think he's got a lot of speed.
Xavier Watts was still on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, if Xavier Watts is on the board when the Bears are picking 39, I would strongly have to consider that if I'm Ryan Poles, man.
I think we should do one, just the most realistic Bears one we can put together. No trades.
Let's
no
roll.
trades.
This was fun though, man. I enjoyed this. This was fun. Thanks, Sam.
No, yeah, for sure.
For joining. Sorry to everybody who was not able to see the first half of this show, guys.
Yeah, give that public service announcement, Brandon, one more time, please.
What?
I said, give that public service announcement one more time. Why people got notification we were live halfway through our damn show.
Yeah, there was some forgetfulness. But
show was left on private. Yeah, so we fixed that middle of the show. Brandon was good enough to realize it. I appreciate you, bro, for finding that out. But yeah, wish y'all could have been with us.
We gotta have one fan. We're better than this. So yeah, go back and watch, guys, if you feel inclined. It was a good first half of the show. Are we doing trade backs or are we just rolling?
I mean, I guess we can evaluate I think trade back should be something considered, especially if Genty or Warren or a guy you don't love is. I mean, we should consider it. We should look at who's available there first. Because if Genty's there, we got to take him. I think just based on reading the tea leaves. We're gonna do a full 7, and we're gonna just control the Bears. Let's get through this as quickly as we can. Starting the draft. So the way this went. Cam Ward 1, Travis Hunter 2, Shador Sanders 3, Abdul Carter 4. So basically our first 5 is exactly how this one went. Mason Graham 5. Genty, though, going to the Raiders. Will Campbell 7. 8 was Jahdae Barron, and 9 was Armand Membu. to the Saints. So pretty close to what we just did, Brandon, in terms of our back and forth. So right now we are looking at McMillan, Nolan, Starks. Tyler Warren is there. Jihad Campbell is there. I don't think that's realistic, though. I mean, I would love for the Bears to take Jihad Campbell, and I felt like they would if he was there, but I don't think they're going to. I think they believe in Edmonds and Edwards, and obviously they just re-signed Edwards, so I think they feel good with their linebackers, and I don't think they're going to take Jihad Campbell. I really
No,
wish they would, though.
I think just the same as Genty. If Tyler Warren's still on the board, he's going to be in a Bears jersey, man.
I mean, what do you? Amphiora says that makes sense. He was looking for us. Oh man.
I think based on what's remaining here, the Bears are either taking Calvin Banks or Tyler Warren.
Amphiorus wants a trade back, or he's asking about. I think we should look into that, man.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
take a
we
look.
should, because Tyler Warren could still be there if we only move a few spots back. The Cowboys with pick 12, the Dolphins 13, the Colts 14, or the Falcons 15. Do you want to move back any further than that?
Do we
Where do
have
we
any
go?
offers, or you just
Well, these are all the teams that would be willing to make a deal, and then we got to put together the offer. So, what's your target range to move back, man? The farther we move back, the more draft capital, extra draft capital we can get.
If the Cowboys were to give us a 12 and their third rounder, I think that's worth doing.
Okay. Well, who do you want? Who are you looking at right now that you want? Because we got to really think about that. Because
I think if we can go back to 12 and still get Tyler Warren, it's worth doing.
I think we could go back to 13 and get Tyler Warren.
And get a second rounder out of the Dolphins?
We could try. I mean, one more spot back, and because I don't think the Cowboys are going to take Tyler Warren. Do you?
I don't think the Cowboys are going to offer more than a third round pick plus their 12.
Oh, they're not touching that. And they don't have a third. 98 is the next pick that they can offer. So, yeah, that's not good. What if we – no, I don't like that. The Colts, they'll take Tyler Warren for sure.
Yep.
All right. So we're going 12 and 76. We're going to try that for the 10. And they're going to accept that. So I guess that's what we're going to go with, because the Dolphins don't have anything they can offer us that is worth a damn, that would be realistically happening. So 12 and 76 to move back 2 spots, that we give them the 10. We're doing that, yeah?
Yep.
All right. I think that's a realistic trade accepted. Resume draft. They went Ted McMillan, and the Niners went Tyler Warren. They have fucking they have George Kittle. The Niners have George Kittle, and they took Tyler Warren.
So now I think the Bears would realistically be looking at Calvin Banks and Omarion Hampton. We're doing this as realistically as we can, we said.
I mean, if you're talking top 30 visits, I mean, Omarion Hampton was one. Shamar Stewart was one. Tyler Warren is off the board. Guys that are available in this spot. I mean, so what are you thinking, man?
Calvin Banks didn't get a top 30, did he?
No, he did not. No, he did not. Omarion Hampton at 12? Would you do it? I mean, there's all this talk about Ashton Genty. The Bears won't pass up on him. How far off is Omarion Hampton in terms of their evaluation?
How desperate are the Bears? If they miss out on Genty, how desperate will they act for a running back?
Which would be stupid if they were, Brandon, because there's so much available, and that they'll have the 39 and 41st pick to attack the running back position. I mean, yeah, I know, right? Amphiorus, Tyler Warren should have been there. The Niners have no business taking him at 11 when they have fucking George Kittle. That's such bullshit, dude. Niners piss me off. All right, so I mean, I don't know what to do here, bro. I'm honestly at a loss. I mean, if we're going based on what the Bears, here's the fact. Any first round pick that Ryan Poles has made has been a top 30 visit. The Bears, in terms of top 30 visits for guys that could go in this spot, I mean, Tyler Warren's gone. Will Campbell's gone. It leaves Shamar Stewart. It leaves Omarion Hampton. So if we're going off of that logic.
Are the Colts looking to trade?
I mean, do you think Poles is going to maneuver the board twice and move back? I mean, I would love if he did. The
If
Colts
he
are
li-
willing to
if he
trade. Yeah.
liked Omari and Hampton, I don't know that he'd take him at 12.
No, yeah, I don't know either. And I mean, can we move back further than 14 and still get Omarion Hampton?
Yeah, can you possibly move back to?
Chitex03, man, what up? He says Omarion's not worth a number 12. Drop off from Genty and him as running back is twofold, according to Dane Brugler. Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think they're that close either. Amphiora says, "What edge do you like here?" I like Michael Williams, who the Bears did talk to, but not a top 30. If we're trying to go by that logic of Ryan Poles, his first round picks have been top 30 visits. Fuck, dude, you don't no Genty at 10. Tyler Warren goes 11 to the. This is like the worst possible scenario. So do you want to try to do another trade back?
Yeah.
Okay. What if we went back to Seattle at 18? I don't think anybody here is in dire need of a running back. We can get Amarion Hampton at 18, or we can go Shamar Stewart at 18. But those are really our only two options, right? In terms of basing this off of what the Bears have done in terms of evaluation so far. But there's also some top 30s that I don't think we know about either, because we didn't get a full list of 30, right?
No.
What about the Seahawks giving us 18 and 50? We move back 6 spots. We get another second round pick, and hope that we got our choice of Amarion Hampton or Shamar Stewart at that pick.
Let's do it.
Trade accepted. Resume draft. So who the Seahawks traded up to get was Jahad Campbell. Very nice. Will Johnson went 13 to the Dolphins. Matthew Golden 14 to
the Bengals
Colts.
Did still get a difference maker.
And Shamar Stewart went 15 to the Falcons. Yep, the Bengals got Jalon Walker. I mean, a huge run on pass rushes there. Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams, Jalon Walker. Not seeing
man,
that
we didn't even think about that. The Bears at 12 might have taken Jalon while he was a top 30.
Well, no, he was a pro day visit. He wasn't a top 30.
Oh. All right, yeah. I think Omarion Hampton.
Omarion Hampton? I don't think the chat's going to be happy with that, but erase the hate. What up? Thanks for joining us, man. Hit that like button, subscribe if you will. Last year we had a horrible run defense. Draft Derek. You want Harmon from Oregon? He's the best 1-tech and 3-tech in the draft. And Infiore says Kenneth Grant is his personal favorite, but big Michigan bias. Now, listen, we added some extra draft capital. We've moved back twice now. We got pick 50 out of the Seahawks, and we got 76 out of the Cowboys as well. So we're going to be able to address some of the – I mean, D-line is listed as the second need. Running back is first. We got Omarion Hampton as a top 30 visit. I think that's what we're going to do here, man, because we're just trying to look at it. Again, top 30 visits are first-round picks for the Bears. If Brian Poles has made a first-round pick, he has had a top 30 visit with them. And this is the guy that's left on the board, man. So we're going to go Omarion Hampton, right, Brendan?
Yep.
We're going to address other needs, but we want Omarion Hampton. I love Juckins in the second. Amphiorus. Me and Amphiorus are just so spot on, man. I think Juckins might be the best running back in this draft. I really think that he could end up being the best running back in this draft, and getting him in the second would be a steal. But again, we're trying to go based on what the Bears have done, what the Bears have shown us. Top 30 with Omarion Hampton. They haven't even sniffed around at Judkins, man. So Omarion Hampton was our pick at 18 after trading back twice. If Poles were to pull this off, Brandon, that would be pretty damn good, wouldn't it? To get these extra picks like this?
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of talent here in the next 4 picks. I think they did have a top 30 with Omar Norman Lott.
They 100% did, and a lot of people like this guy. I like him. This past season, 5 sacks, 9 hits, 13 hurries. Run defensive snaps, 86. Pass rush snaps, 139. He's a pass rushing 3 technique. 6'3", 315, 23. Strong first step, converts speed to power easily, shorter stature, give him leverage out of 3 and 4-point stances, above average arms for bull rushes, and massive hands. I mean, we need that defensive lineman. Do you want to look at any other ones? I mean, we're talking about what the Bears have done in terms of the work they've done in the evaluation process. Omar Norman Lott is the guy here at the defensive tackle spot.
Or if Makuba's there, that's another guy they seem to like.
That's early on Makuba.
Yeah.
That's early on Makuba. Landon Jackson, not a guy that they've met with that we're aware of. We got our running back. We do need, I mean, what about the offensive tackle spot? What's still available there?
They met with Connerly.
Yeah, he's gone though. Josh Connerly went 1 pick before us to the Patriots. He would have been the perfect pick for us here. Fucking Patriots
seems to be happening on this draft.
Yeah, man. Patriots got Abdul Carter and Josh Connerly, but that's part of the fun of these mock drafts, man. Is like the draft don't just fall the way you want it. You have to adjust, you know. And the Bears aren't going to be able to just take everyone that they've been meeting with. They're not going to be able to just pull that off like that. But I think in this situation, drafting Omar Norman Lott makes a lot of sense. You get that defensive lineman. Yeah, Banks is off the board. Shy Tex. I keep calling him Chitex. I would imagine it's Shy Tex. Yeah, because Chicago, Texas. All right, Omar Norman Lott. You think that makes sense here for this pick, Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not mean to do that. Mouse is being weird. Omar Norman Lott, we're going with him. His rank is 27 by PFF. His average draft position is 52. But this would be a pick polls would make. I mean, a defensive tackle in the second round, he loves to attack defensive tackles in that area, second, third round. So going Omar Norman Lott. And then at 41, what are our biggest needs so far? We've addressed running back and D-line. Safety is the next one. We got the local kid, Xavier Watts. We got Kevin Winston. I like Watts better than Winston, personally, if we're talking about safety. We haven't addressed edge. Your guy, Landon Jackson, is still there. Again, just because they didn't visit with him don't mean that they won't pick him. What's the chat thinking on this?
I like Landon Jackson more than I like Xavier Watts. Did they meet with Winston? Is what M. Pierce is asking. And then Watts is good. I do like Watts.
I do too. I mean, I love him in this area. It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I think I just said at the end of that last draft, I'd be really happy if Watts is there in the second round.
This is a key point in this draft, guys. If the draft were to fall this way, we got pick 41. We've made our 2 picks so far. We got Omarion Hampton and Omar Norman Lott. We got 41, 50, 72, 76. These next 4 picks, we need a safety. We need a slot receiver. We need an edge rusher, and I wouldn't mind getting a linebacker if we can find one that's worth a damn in this spot. And I also wouldn't. I love Maxwell Hairston. As I said, I would not be disappointed with a cornerback here. Again, what if you do need to move Kyler Gordon to safety? What if Brisker's out? And Gordon moving the safety becomes that option, and then you have a cornerback to step in for Gordon. I mean, there's a few different ways to look at it. But what do you think, Brandon? What do you think we should go with here?
Safety versus edge. Shy Tex and Amphiers both say, yeah, I like Xavier Watts, man. Like I said at the end of that last mock we did, I literally verbally said if Watts was there in the second round, the Bears should take advantage of it. So.
Yeah, local. I mean, he's Notre Dame right down the road. The Bears have definitely seen him play. This would be a pick that polls would make. I mean, he's dabbled in the Notre Dame pool, obviously. So
I'd be happy to have Watts.
We're going.
I would be happy if Brian Poles selected Xavier Watts.
And if he was picked with the 41st pick, that would be a pretty good value. All right, we're going with him. Xavier Watts, 41. So we've addressed our 3 biggest needs according to PFF. We got our running back, Omarion Hampton. We got our defensive line, Omar Norman Lott. And we got our safety in Xavier Watts. I think now is when you start to look at edge rush and you look at that receiver position. And I don't think the Bears are limited to just a slot receiver. Because if you took a guy like Jaden Higgins, You have DJ Moore that can play in the slot and do it really well. Ben Johnson has said straight up the slot receiver ends up being the guy that gets the ball the most in his offense. It's just the way it works out. I wouldn't mind seeing DJ Moore be that guy in this Ben Johnson offense. I don't know about you, Brandon.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. DJ Moore's shown that he can play anywhere in the field.
So Jaden Higgins here could be a damn steal, dude. I mean, let's just 90.3 PFF grade this past season, 13 games played. He played 138 in the slot, 337 wide. He's a boundary receiver, but he had 87 receptions on 129 targets for 1185, 13.6 yards per reception, 9 touchdowns.
And his 40 is ridiculous, man.
6'4", 215.
What's his 40? His 40 is like a 4.39.
I'm not seeing his 40 anywhere. I don't know it off the top of my head. Do you? You brought it up.
I think it is a 4.39.
Okay. I would not mind Jaden Higgins here at all. We need to address receiver, but we also need to address edge.
Oh, no, I'm way off. His recorded 40 at the combine was 4.47.
4.4. Yeah, I was going to, but it doesn't really.
Maybe I'm thinking of the other kid from Ohio State.
Jalen Noel.
Yeah.
Brady Swinson would be a decent pick here. 6'4", 250.
Braden Sack Swinson, they call him.
Yeah. I'm looking at Jaden Higgins. I'm looking at Swinson. I know Amphiorus, wanted us to go with Swinson. Carson Schwetzinger is still there. Sean loves that guy. I'm not the biggest fan. Going with Watts took us out of the Makuba market, didn't it? And we still got Maxwell Hairston right here, man.
No, Makuba's right there.
No, yeah, I know, but we're out of the market. That's what I'm saying. Because we just drafted a safety. We're not going to draft 2 safeties in this draft.
Let's go Swinson.
You want to go Swinson over Jaden Higgins? We're not going to get an opportunity at Jaden. Look at the Let's just look at the receivers real quick before we make this decision. Because it goes from Higgins ranked 36 to Jalen Royals ranked 61. Higgins is a freaking steal here, dude. A steal.
Right, sold me. Let's go Jaden Higgins.
I think Swinson, again, the edge, we're going to run into the same issue here, but Kyle Williams is a guy that'll be available potentially at our 72nd pick, who would be a damn good slot receiver, and I like him a lot. So that would be more realistic. Bears had him in for a top 30. We could try to wait for Kyle Williams and go with Swinson. I can go either way.
Where's Swinson ranked?
Swinson is ranked 46. Average draft position 52.5. I like Kyle Williams a lot too. Amphiorus. We can try to wait for him in that 3rd round and go with our edge here and again, let's just look at the edge because it is down between those 2 positions. That is what we're looking at. Jack Sawyer is still there. I like Jack Sawyer. I think he's going to be a steal that late. They got him ranked 92nd, but his average draft position is 62. He could fall to the 3rd round. So we'd be taking a chance waiting on either one of these guys, Brandon. Comes down to which one we want to address the most and which one we think we could find depth in. I like Savion Jones, the other LSU edge.
Well, you can take Kyle Williams probably.
We got 72, 76.
2.
Okay, so you think you want to go with Swinson and hope for the slot receiver in the 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we're doing. Again,
honestly, man, I think edge is the Bears' biggest need.
I don't know that Swinson at 250 pounds is my favorite, but I could see it happening. Kyle Williams is still there. So I think that's what we do here. We go 72 Kyle Williams. We get our slot receiver.
And the top visit.
Jalen Royals is still there, but yeah, Kyle Williams has met with the Bears. The Bears, I would imagine, really like the kid. And man, if Tate Radledge is still there at 76, we might have to do that. All right, we're gonna go Kyle Williams here.
Yeah, they met with him twice. The kid's so
I
nice.
really like Kyle Williams. Kid's so nice. They met with him twice. Trey Harris is still there. Wow. All right, so let's just look at what we got because right now all we got left is 76, 148, 233, and 240. Omarion Hampton, Omar Norman Lott, Xavier Watts, Braden Swinson. I'm just not the biggest fan of that pick, but Kyle Williams, third round, pick 72. Braden Swinson is a really good pass rusher, and obviously he's gotten the sacks to have that be his middle name. 9 sacks, 8 hits, 43 hurries. That's impressive. Pass rush grade of 90, 6'4", 250.
He just explodes off the
Yeah,
line.
for sure, man. And if you put 10 more pounds on him in the NFL, I guess I could talk myself into it. And Amphioris has been with us, so what O tackle is left, Amphioris says. He wants Mason Taylor. The tight end is something we have not discussed. We got our slot receiver. We got our edge. We got our safety. Got our defensive tackle. Got a halfback. Tight end. Makes a whole lot of sense here. And Mason Taylor, the guy who was the Bears visited with.
Is he still there?
With the Bears. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, I think we do it. And he's projected. His rank is 76. I think this couldn't have worked out more.
Yeah, with the pick we got from the Cowboys, we're able to take Mason Taylor. So offensively, we've addressed the running back, slot receiver, and tight end. And Fioris asked about tackles, so let's just look at it real quick just to see if we're not missing out on anything. Anthony Belton. Hopefully he falls to 148 because that's a guy that the Bears talked with as well for a top 30 visit.
I like Anthony Belton.
Yeah. So Mason Taylor it is, guys.
It's just going all right, man. I feel like this grade's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay. And then also the other thing is that, like, these are guys that are on the Bears' radar. Omarion Hampton, Omar Norman Lott, Xavier Watts, just by virtue of being at Notre Dame right down the damn street. Braden Swinson, I haven't heard a lot about. That's one that kind of veers off of that. But Kyle Williams, multiple visits. Mason Taylor, top 30 visit. These are guys that the Bears have their eyes on. Now we can look at offensive tackle Amphioris. Let's see if there's something there. I mean, this is going to be a development guy by our own
corner too, Dustin.
By our own admission here. I mean, left tackle is going to be a competition between Braxton Jones and Karan Amagaji, and the Bears have said things to back that up. So I won't be surprised if they don't take a left tackle high, even though I do want them to. Logan Brown,
Emory Jones.
I like Emory Jones as well. Logan Brown, 82.5 grade, allowed 6 hurries, allowed no sacks. 6'6", 315. Brown looks and grades like the kind of offensive tackle worth taking a chance on. That's exactly where we're at, Brandon. He has an ideal athletic build for the position with great height, weight, and length, and flashes power on contact and fluid movement skills. However, his fundamentals remain a work in progress. That's what Rocher would be for, right? He plays too high, lunges into blocks, and can misread run fits. Still, those issues appear coachable, making him a developmental tackle with upside. That's the perfect pick right now in this spot if you're looking for a tackle. Because the Bears have Rocher. I mean, they're going to be going with Braxton Jones and Amagaji in this, but this guy could turn into something better than what you're picking him at.
And Sean would love it.
Yeah, Kansas. All right, we're going to go with Logan Brown here, right?
Yeah.
I think I think we still need to address the offensive line. Just one more thing real quick. Just want to look at overall here. Not Jordan Hancock. That's a guy the Bears had in for a top 30, ain't it? But they got him listed as safety. Okay, yeah, let's go Logan Brown. This is a great pick for a potential steal at the tackle position. And Fioris, we went with Logan Brown, bro. I know you like Hollins Pierce a lot. I remember that from last draft I did with you. All right, so at this point, pick 233, man. I mean,
corner. Look at corner.
I'm looking at Malachi Moore. I know we said we weren't drafting 2 safeties, but Malachi Moore is sitting right there, bro. I might just take him and not even listen to your opinion. I fucking love Moore. Hancock is still there, and he's a guy that the Bears had in for a visit. Sean just did a write up on him. Snap alignment, 419 in the slot in 2024, 6 at corner, 94 in the box.
And you love Hancock.
Okay.
I
I love you. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it.
See who's available at corner.
Zach Frazier.
Are we just playing Nico Reed? Are we planning on replacing both safeties? You can get your Malachi Moore. There's a chance the Bears do replace both of their starters.
This cornerback dude is 6'3", 185. Frazier's build and athleticism give him an intriguing ceiling as a day 3 bet to make. Though his game lacks refinement and anticipation, in his lone year as a full-time starter, he did earn an 82.5 coverage grade, thanks to a 19.5 forced incompletion rate. Yeah, man, I'm kind of interested in this guy.
Wasn't there a center last year named Zach Frazier? Oh, Za Frazier.
Oh yeah, Za Frazier. Yeah, Zach Frazier out of Virginia or West Virginia. Sorry.
Let's go with Za.
Get the Za. Yeah, no, I mean, high upside potential, 6'3" cornerback. I like that a lot.
Yes, dude's huge.
Okay, if Moore is still there at 240, we're definitely taking him. But we already drafted the safety, so this makes sense. He's still there. Let's do it. Moore? Yeah, or do we go? Again, we're trying to be realistic. This is a guy the Bears had in Hancock. He's ranked higher as well, so I would cede the floor to that. I mean, considering that we're trying to be on point with what the Bears have showed us.
God, Ty Robinson is there. That's crazy.
I mean, we could.
He's ranked 122nd. We're picking at 240 right now.
6'6", 310. Robinson enjoyed the best season of his career in his 6th year, tallying his 6th year in college. An elite athlete for the position and plays with a bully's mentality. I like that. Robinson has below average length and needs to play with better leverage, but he has the traits and motor to bet on as a projected backup with the upside of one day becoming a starter. We could add more defensive line. At this point, again, like you're just kind of taking.
Yeah.
You want to go with Ty Robinson? It's going to get us. It's going to get us a good grade. I think Hancock again is the guy that the Bears brought in, so he could make sense. And Malachi Moore is. I just love him. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. I think he's highly underrated in this draft.
Go with who you want, man. All those guys are ranked better than where we're picking. I don't think any of these guys are going to hurt your grade.
Another developmental edge or tackle guard. Listen, I don't think that there's anybody at the edge worth taking here, man. Considering that, I don't know. A D7. All right, what do you think? Safety? Another safety or another defensive lineman? We're going to go either Ty Robinson, Hancock, or Malachi Moore. What would make more sense? I think adding depth to the defensive line.
I think the Bears go with, in this position, probably go with safety, honestly, man.
After drafting Watts, still go Hancock? Or
I mean, beyond Watts, like let's say that Brisker does get concussed again. Beyond Watts, you're pretty thin.
You got Elijah Hicks, right? And you got and you still got Jonathan Owens. You still got Jonathan Owens.
All right, let's go Ty Robinson.
Let's add some depth to this defensive line rotation. I think that makes the most sense in terms of what we see works in the NFL. That's what we're going to do. They are grading our draft. No suggestion available for this draft. That's the first one we've done where they don't have a suggestion. I mean, even though Omarion Hampton got us a C.
I guess that means we were perfect. I don't know.
Omarion Hampton, C. Omar Norman Lott, A. Xavier Watts, A. Braden Swinson, A. Kyle Williams got us a D. I don't agree with that, but okay. Mason Taylor, B-. Logan Brown, C. Al Frazier a C plus, and Ty Robinson got us an A plus. We're in the top 34% of Chicago Bears draft. Overall draft grade is an A. What's the chat think of this? We ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks, bro. We added some defensive line depth to the interior of the defensive line.
Bears fan for life. Look at all them A's up there, dude.
Yeah, man. It's a pretty solid draft. Pretty damn solid draft, I think.
Yeah, I would be content if this.
I'd be happy with this. You got your running back. You got your bell cow running back. How do you think we did in terms of like realistically where the Bears would go in these situations? I mean, obviously trading back twice in the first round is a little far fetched, but
I think this would line up.
Yeah, I think so. I like it.
All right. Happy if the Bears had all these picks.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Poles trade back twice in the first round. I just don't think it's a realistic expectation. We're at 2 hours, man. We're gonna stop sharing this. Got a couple mock drafts in. That was pretty good. I like that Bears one. That's gonna be our final Bears mock draft on the bare minimum, man. We had talked about talking about the complete unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic. I know it's not a great segue, but it is what it is. We're getting late in the show, and I just watched it, and it's not like it's like brand new to review, but it did just come out on Hulu, so that's why it's relevant to me. I just watched it. Brandon is a big Bob Dylan fan. You saw the movie in theaters, did you not?
I did on Christmas Day.
I thought it was a lot better than I expected. I'm interested to hear what you thought of the movie. We haven't really talked about it, so.
I thought it was really good, man. I thought Tim Chalamet sold me on Bob Dylan when he was playing the music, when he was like on stage or just sitting there strumming a guitar. Not so much when he was just Bob Dylan being Bob Dylan, you know what I mean? But I thought the story was very, very accurate. It was. I mean, the story was to a T. And Ed Norton in any movie is awesome. So that's awesome. But I thought it was a good movie, man. I did. It's not, we've talked about the Doors on the bare minimum. We've talked about Ray on the bare minimum. It's not at that level.
Easy.
It's not at that level, but it's a good film. I would suggest it to anybody who's wondering whether or not they should watch it. I'd say yes.
Yeah, man. Just came out on Hulu, like I said. So I watched it the other night. It's not easy to make a biopic or a biopic or however you want to say it. As we've discussed previously. And to do it well is hard, and it's hard to do the whole life either. Like it seemed like Bob Dylan, they really focused on he's got such a long career, man. They just focused on a small part of it. I mean, basically the starting. So what I wanted to ask you about, spoiler alert, it starts out with him hitchhiking to New York to meet his hero, Woody Guthrie, who's sick. And then he ends up befriending Pete Seeger in this interaction with Woody Guthrie, and that's kind of what puts him onto the folk music scene in New York. How accurate is that depiction of how Bob Dylan got his break?
100%.
That's awesome.
Bob Dylan left Duluth, Minnesota at 15 years old. He was asked why. He said he was born to the wrong parents. He did, in fact, hitchhike his way across 5, 6 states, found himself in New York, and he did sit next to Woody Guthrie bedside while Woody Guthrie was ill and old.
And he played a song that he wrote for Woody Guthrie.
Yes, and he also, I don't know if this is true, it wasn't in the movie, but apparently he had a big issue with Arlo Guthrie, Woody's son, because Arlo did not take the opportunity to sit bedside with his father while he was sick and passing. So,
well, we don't know. I don't want to get into that. I don't know. The father-son relationships are difficult.
That's another musician. Arlo Guthrie is another folk singer. But
I gotta say this, man. I put off watching it when I first saw the previews for it. I was like, Tim Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He's gonna
I wasn't sold.
Oh man, I was really concerned and I was hesitant to watch it. After watching it, my biggest takeaway was this: it's better than Honora, that one the Oscar for Best Picture. My wife was watching Anora, which just came out on Hulu too, and that movie is literally about nothing. I don't really like the chick in the lead role, Mikey Madison, whatever her name is. The movie doesn't really make much sense. At least A Complete Unknown has a message that is, that can resonate with you, that you can relate to, because the overall message of the movie, which I love, because it was just about like doing it your way. Bob Dylan breaks into the scene and they're telling him folk music is all about covers, and he puts out his first album and it's all covers and nobody's buying his album.
Hymns. Yeah, I want him to sing Bible hymns.
Yeah, and it was bullshit, and he was just put into this box that people told him he needed to be in, and it culminates at the end of the movie with him doing something very against the grain in terms of what people think of traditional folk music, and a very big event for folk music, and everyone's trying to pressure him to do what they want him to do, and he says, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want to do because this is me. And he was authentic to himself, and that resonates with me, just like with this podcast, man. Like, I don't care what someone wants me to do. I want to just be me. I want you to be you, and Sean and Kyle to be them, and just be our authentic selves. And if people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. And that message resonated with me a lot, man. So at least this movie had a message that was worth a damn. Honora, I don't know what the fuck that movie was even about, man. So I was very impressed with the movie, to be honest. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5, man. It's nothing to write home about, but considering my expectations versus what it actually was, I was happy with it, man, and it entertained me throughout. And Tim Chalamet really does do a good job. And how cool would it be to play Bob Dylan in a movie, bro?
Yeah.
He plays it like this is just fucking cool. I get to be
Well, I'll
Bob.
say this, man. He played Bob Dylan to a T based on what people say about Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan wasn't the funnest person to be around
Yeah,
by all sources that have ever reported on the topic or the subject. He really did kind of treat Joan Baez, eh, like that relationship
like
went south pretty
like a
pretty
tool
quick.
to be used.
Yeah. I mean, he
Yeah,
was
man.
writing her songs, and I think he felt he was being used, but he did kind of, I think, in turn, shit on her. But one thing that I have to look up, and I'm surprised I never did, man. I forgot about it after I left the theater. His last show as a folk artist in the States before he moved to England because he was so fed up with this "Don't Go Electric" stuff. If he
Yeah.
really did sing "The Times Are Changing" on that stage, I mean, is there a better is there a better goodbye to the audience that doesn't embrace you, man? Like,
Yeah. Seriously.
it's just
Seriously.
that moment was in the movie. I'm like looking at my, like, she's, she likes Bob Dylan, but she's not crazy. I'm looking at her like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like,
No, he didn't do, but he did that the year before. In the movie,
the
it was
previous year,
the Newport Festival the year
Newport,
before.
yeah,
Yeah,
Newport,
because
yeah,
his girl was there watching in that one, and she started tearing up because like he just blew everybody's minds with that song.
yeah.
That song is in the opening credits of The Watchmen, and that's the best opening credit scene of any movie, just because of that song and the way they put the images with the song, man. I mean, Watchmen is worth watching just for the opening credit, the opening credits with the times they are changing. But yeah, I
And
don't think it was his last song he played. He played a "fuck you" song to people in that last, when they wanted him to go out and do acoustic. He was like, "All right, here you go, fuck you." That's
oh
kind
yeah,
of
maybe he played
yeah,
it all right, ma. I think maybe actually, but another thing about Bob Dylan, what you just said, his music is iconic, whether or not you like him, because all of his soundtrack films, like Jerry Maguire ends with the song "Shelter from the Storm," and that's one of the best ending credit songs I've ever seen in a movie. You know what I
uh-huh.
mean? Like his songs, whether or not his music resonates with you, his song makes emotion to me. It really does. It creates emotion, especially in film.
I thought Chalamet did a great job. I mean, it's worth watching just to see Chalamet's performance. From what I know about Bob Dylan, I thought he did him justice in the movie,
Well,
and
and
I thought they did a pretty good job keeping it accurate. His tenuous relationship with Seeger, who brought him into the
yeah,
business, really, but then wanted to keep he wanted to make him feel like he was on his side, but he wasn't also he also wasn't letting him be himself,
It was
so that
shielding
relation.
him from I don't know, growing. But
Yeah.
man, I'll tell you this: what I told Tiana when we were done watching the film, the woman who plays Joan Baez, my God, she crushes that role.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
not only acts just like her, she looks exactly like her. It's crazy. Every time she's in the scene, I'm like, man, this is Joan Baez. Like this is
Do you know if
Hawaii.
she actually does the singing in the movie?
The actress, I don't know. I
I
don't
gotta
know.
say this. I gotta say this, and we're talking about the choosing Boyd Holbrook for Johnny Cash. Terrible mistake. I did not believe it. I didn't like it. You realize that's who that
Oh
was, right?
yeah. No, yeah. Johnny, I wasn't. Yeah, he's too clean, man.
Yeah,
Johnny Cash was a kind of gritty looking
gritty
guy.
looking dude.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
like
looked
his
beat up,
face looked
bro.
like it got ran over by a car. Like,
Yeah, he
and
was he was
he was too much of
scarred.
a
He
yeah.
was rugged. Yeah, that guy was like I don't know. That guy was like Burt Reynolds when he was young.
He was
He
too much
was
of a
like-
pretty boy, and
yeah,
he was too flamboyant. I
yeah.
thought too to play Johnny Cash. Now maybe I'm wrong. Like you tell me. Like it was
No, I
Johnny.
I
Yeah,
think I actually said something to her like this is not a good choice. This isn't
no.
Johnny. I don't think I knew because I think he's in a few scenes. And I don't think the first one I saw him and I made the connection that he was Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like hard to tell because he doesn't really play it. He's It's like they give a whole different portrayal of Johnny Cash than what he actually was by all accounts, and
Yeah,
that bothered me. That bothered me.
and the Johnny Cash portrayal in
Walk
um
the line.
was the Bob Dylan Johnny Cash relationship in Walk the Line was very contradictive to the relationship in A Complete Unknown, because in A Complete Unknown it made it seem like these two were very close friends and that Johnny Cash was like a shoulder to lean on when Bob Dylan was having
Like a
issues with his voice.
mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And in
yeah,
the movie Walk the Line, Johnny Cash is running home to tell his wife that Bob Dylan had written him a letter on a napkin or on a
yeah,
on a on a oxygen bag in an airplane, man. Remember that?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, look, Bob Dylan wrote me. Like it was like, and then they're making him look like
Well,
they're best
in
friends.
in the complete unknown, the letter is accurate. It's he says that his album is the most prized possession he has. So I mean,
Yeah.
they do try to portray that, but yeah, it
He
just
did. He did write the letter. That did occur. Like, but I don't know how close they actually. And then they did on Johnny Cash's show. He featured Bob Dylan multiple times in real life. But yeah, I
uh,
thought the movie was good, man. I would suggest to anybody to go see it. It's one of the
it's
better. If you're ranking like biopics, like music artists, it's
It's
up
up
there for me.
it's up there, but it's not I don't it's not better than like I don't know if it makes it in my top 5, but I it's on Hulu. It's very accessible. Go watch it. And then what I now I'm listening to Bob Dylan on Spotify because like it just makes you want to get into the music. And again, I'm not a person who's done a lot of research on Bob Dylan, so it was good to see that side of him through that part of his life, how he broke into the business and how the business really tried to break him and keep him from being who he was, like the business that he loved so much, the music that he loved so much. When and everybody loved him for making that music, but then once he went a little bit out of the lane they thought he should be in, they all just turned on him
And that's
immediately.
exactly what happened to Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and that's
He,
just it's
and
fucked up. It's
he
crazy to
left
think
this
about.
country for that reason. Yeah.
And I didn't know that, honestly. It's just, but the story again, the moral of the story is just be yourself and have no apologies for it, to me, and that's worth watching to anybody. It was a little inspirational in that regard to me. So that's the reason I really liked it.
Yeah, and then obviously watching Timothy Chalamet portray Bob Dylan creating, like writing the songs is, I mean, guys, this is like best lyricist of the year, like 5 times consecutive. I mean, to see
Yeah,
that work in progress was awesome because Bob Dylan probably helped with that. And this is one of the only biopic films you ever see with the guy still alive. So there's that too.
So we both recommend the movie. Again, available on Hulu. Guys, go check it out. Next week, you can tell us what you think. Um, yeah, man. And then obviously the Bulls suck. The play-in is a joke. I just want to throw this out here. I don't think people even realize the rules of the play-in still. I think people thought the Bulls had a chance to play the Cavs or the Celtics. No, they would only compete for the eighth seed. I don't know that. I think our AK still thinks he has a shot at the playoffs. I think Arturas Karnisovas thinks he still has a shot at the playoffs. Nobody understands the play-in. The play-in is a joke. The 8 versus 9, or sorry, the 9 versus 10 game is just it's awful basketball. And the fact that the Bulls made the play-in, I think, is a bad thing because it gives AK more false hope that he can use to continue to justify this team being mediocre because they finished 15-5 in the dog days of the NBA season when nobody else was really trying. Man, I don't know, man. The Bulls are a runaway train with no direction. It pisses me off. It pisses me off so bad. This is a once great franchise being run by morons, and I think AK and Mark Eversley might be worse than Garpax. I think they are. I think they are because they can't even just pick a direction. It's like, okay, we're gonna compete and try to get in the playoffs, or we're gonna rebuild. It's like they're trying to do both at the same time, and they're half-assing both of them. The Bulls screwed up their chances at getting a top five pick by making the play-in. They didn't increase their chances by losing in the play-in. Really, it's just all awful, man. And to come out in that game and just look as flat as they were the entire time against the Heat team, that's really a fucking bad basketball team, man. It's just so frustrating all around, man. The Bulls,
Well,
and we're years away from this changing, which sucks. And they took themselves off of our fucking TV to where us locals, we like, no, we can't even watch without jumping through hoops. It's just it's it's awful.
and they gave a $90 million contract to a player they shouldn't have drafted in the first place, and he just sucks. I mean, Patrick Williams sucks, dude.
Yeah, man.
There's nothing. You get nothing from this guy. I used to think he was going to at least be an elite defender in the league. He's just bad, top to bottom. And
Imagine.
if Giddy has an opportunity to play, is he restricted?
Uh, I don't know. I don't believe
If I'm him, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge, dude.
they need to re-sign him. And I mean, people were talking about a max. Josh Giddey's not a max player. The Bulls don't have a max player. Kobe White's not a max player. They you can get them on good deals, steals of a deal, but you still need that player, that max player, that they can be a 2 and a 3 to. And I don't even know if they are that. They might be a 3 and a 4. As good as much as I love both of those players, they're not. These aren't building blocks for a championship team. These, these are accessories to that. That's really what the Bulls are made of right now. And our AK wants to pretend that he's got a core here, and he fucking doesn't. Maybe Matas turns into one of those building blocks. I think that's a possibility, and
Oh,
Giddy
J2.
will get better. Yeah, what up, J2K? But I mean, it's just they're delusional. It feels like, and imagine if the Bears were being
Oh,
run this way.
Dustin, real quick, J2K. I really, really like your work, man. Some cool stuff that you do. J2K Designs, I believe
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
same individual. Very cool stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe. And I mean, uh, yeah, no, we love having new guests. I don't know how much I've seen J2K in our chat. Have you ever seen him in here before?
No, I've seen him in others. I saw him
Yeah,
in
yeah. He's
Bear
always in
Country,
Bears country. Yeah, I've seen him in there. Yeah.
but good
Uh,
work for sure. I really like what he does. Oh, yeah, Dustin, they're ass. I mean, they're ass. It's.
Thanks, J2K.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, this Bulls team, it's intolerable. The White Sox are doing a better job at finding direction by just simply sucking. It's
Exactly. It's
they're
and you were making the point that the NBA is becoming trash because these players sit out, and teams kind of realize that that's the only way to game the system. Like if you're not having a good season, you got to sit your best players and find reasons to do so to lose as many games as possible. And it's like the Bulls didn't get the memo. I wish they would have sat their players more this year. There's no reason they should have been in the fucking playing. What are you playing for? And the play-in is a joke. You're not a playoff team, and the Bulls were never a playoff team. And I was telling everybody that was getting excited about this run they went on. Man, as much as I love the Bulls, I just feel betrayed by the way they're being run. And like I was trying to say, imagine if the Chicago Bears were being run the way the Bulls are being run. This city would get set on fire, bro. And like nobody gives a shit. The Bulls are the sport that my first love. Michael Jordan, 4 years old, like that type of love. And they're just shitting on us, man. And nobody seems to care anymore. And that's frustrating too. It's frustrating too.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think it could get bad to worse, Dustin, but like you said, as bad as Garpax was, this is fucking worse. It's worse.
Like, so what's the common denominator? It's Reinsdorf, and he's also with the White Sox. Same thing, right? So it's like until he sells, I don't know how it gets any better. And there's no end in sight for this for the Bulls. Like they're not going to get a good enough pick to make a difference on their team. Nobody's going to want to fucking come here in free agency. They're not going. They don't have any assets to make a trade to get a star player. There's no way that this is getting better anytime soon. And AK will continue to justify his job and maintaining it by saying we were competitive and actually meaning that.
His narcissistic, condescending attitude when somebody asks him a question, man, it makes me sick to my. I told you I had to turn it off. I had to stop watching. I really
every
did.
time he talks. Every time he talks,
I was so pissed off. Why are you speaking to me like I'm a child? Like I can't watch what's happening on like you're not doing good things, and you keep defending yourself. And the fact that the guy never embraces that there's a problem here means it will never be fixed. And it's like nobody wants to. Even the people who are asking the questions because they're getting paid to don't even want to hear your answer anymore. And you're kind of a dick when they ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And he says, well, I would hope that he's like wanting us to give him credit for the mediocrity, and that's why he should keep his job going forward. I mean, if you really think that, then you're just not the guy for the job. If you're looking at what you've done, you haven't acknowledged. It took him forever just to acknowledge that the team that he had put together with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and a ball that can't stay healthy, wasn't going to work. It wasn't, even at its best, it wasn't anywhere near good enough.
And he says
it just got worse. And he held on to that idea that they could be something for so long. And then he waited too long to move the assets, and he got fucking jack shit all in return for him. Chris Duarte and a second round pick for DeMar DeRozan. Jesus Christ.
To finish 15-5 isn't a victory lap. No, it's quite the fucking opposite, man. If you were like a team that was second or third seed in the East and you finished 15-5 and you like ran the
positive momentum going into the playoffs,
then it's
5-15 would have been a lot better for this Bulls team.
Victory lap. You don't have any victories. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Your team continues. It's actually it's pretty remarkable how good this guy is at putting a 500 team together year in and year out, dude. Like,
it's weird because there's no real. I mean, there's a few people out there that are hard on the Bulls and always have been, like Joe Colley, like he just has been for years now. Like, but there's a small contingent of that. But other than that, like, there's no scrutiny because like no one's paying attention. They've made themselves so irrelevant that no one even gives a shit. That they're being run in such a dysfunctional way. Like no one even cares. They're so far out of the mind.
I've been listening to David Kaplan and Jay Hood every morning for 3 years straight, man. When they do the Bulls, it's like 3 minutes and Cap is like, I'm done. I don't want to. Like, let's move on. And he knows you're losing listeners. That's like, because that's how bad it is, man. It's infuriating. And like you said, man, I grew up watching this team. I grew up watching Michael Jordan through the 90s. I watched the three-peats. I watched the 6 championships. And what it's dwindled down to is pathetic.
Yep.
And no player has any interest, Dustin, at ever coming to this city to play. Because I keep reading, like, somebody posted a possible Jokic ending up here. Somebody posted a Giannis ending up here. No way in hell would either of those players consider this.
I mean, I guess the Jokic thing because of the largest Serbian population in the U.S. in Chicago. I mean, that's why they're making that connection. And Giannis is a guy that like I don't think he gives a shit about going to a place where he has stars. I think he's a guy that wants to win it on his back. So like, but yeah, no, there's no way that they're going to attract anyone of any value to this team the way it's being run right now. It's just not possible.
Because if you dissect it even further beyond the front office, man, Billy Donovan sucks. He
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not he's not going to win you. He's not a coach that's going to win you a championship. I mean, and he's not a coach that's developing these young players either. Patrick Williams has just gotten worse. He's just regressed. He looks really good shooting that. You know, he gets into the lane, does the turnaround fadeaway. He looks really good doing it until the ball actually gets to the rim and it bounces off the back of it and just bounces straight up in the air. It's like, oh man, he's got something there. But if it never goes in, the whole move that got you there is kind of irrelevant. And
Yeah, and I want to
yeah,
make this known. From everything that I've read, Kobe White is just putting in a lot of work to become a better basketball player. It's got nothing to do with what Donovan's done.
Sean sent this earlier, our other co-host. I just want to read it. 10 years since the Blackhawks advanced in a playoff. 10 years since the Bulls. 14 years since the Bears. 8 years since the Cubs. 20 years since the White Sox. This is the third biggest market in the country. These are teams that make money. These are teams that we give our money to and our time to and our attention to. And that's how we're rewarded. So it's like, it's tough right now in Chicago. The Bears are hopefully making a turn. The Cubs, you know, have been successful so far to start the season. But, you know, the Bulls, there's no end in sight to this, man. The White Sox, there's no end in sight to this. And the common denominator is Reinsdorf. Just flat out, man. And to treat your fans this way, I've been saying this all season, man. You know, this CSN network just, you know, moving on from having any accessibility to your games, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. You're alienating your fans. And again, no one seems to give a shit.
And then asking them for public funding for your stadiums.
And now he's the Purple Pope. What up, nerd? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. I mean, we're on 2.5 hours, man. We had a technical difficulties to start the show. We were live, but the show was left on private. So most of y'all missed about an hour of it. The first hour of it, we were pretty light on people joining us. But you know, go back and watch it, guys. We started out talking about Kyler Gordon playing outside cornerback or safety, as Dennis Allen brought up. We started out talking about TJ Edwards extension, what we thought of that, the potential to re-sign Tooney. We did a first round mock where we alternated picks. That was pretty good. Y'all should go check that out. And we did a Bears mock. So we appreciate everybody for joining us, man. Complete Unknown. It's a really solid movie. Go check it out. Purple Pope has a new channel that'll be streaming Vikings content from this fall. Nice. Go Bears. Bear down. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you being here. Yeah, we went live awful late. Yeah. But yeah, go back and check out the rest, guys, if you're so inclined. We always appreciate anybody spending their time being here with us, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe, sharing it with a friend.
Yeah, hit that like for us, guys. A lot of videos with 200 plus views and 12 likes.
No, I mean our last one got like 26 likes. They did a pretty good job. Again, just taking the time to be here and listen to us idiots talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about and whatever y'all want to talk about. I mean, that's enough for me. We appreciate y'all very much. This has been the bare minimum. Brandon, always good to talk to you, bro. Bears draft next week. One more time, let me show you guys this. If you're local and in the area, we are going to be at 102 North River Street in East Dundee on April 24th. Doors open at 4. We're going to kick it off around 6. Got the Bears Care charity that we're working with. We're going to do raffles, giveaways in terms of autographed memorabilia. You got a 50-50 raffle. 50% of it goes to Bears Care charity, 50% to the winner. Going to be a hell of a time. Great specials on beer, great specials on food, and 4 Stars is going to be broadcasting live. So we'll be on YouTube too. So if you're not local, you can catch us on YouTube. We're going to go all the way through when the Bears pick at number 10. or later if they trade back. And we're gonna be there through it all, guys. So please join us. If you're in the area, come check us out. We'd love to meet y'all. Thanks so much for all of your support always. And also, we now have a website that is functional, 4starchicagosports.com. Check that stuff out. All of our shows, you can access all of our shows through there. Once we start having merch, consistently, you'll be able to get that through there. We're going to be putting up blogs every week, just quick little blurbs, writing about Chicago sports and things in sports in general. We're going to try to get a lot of good content through there as well to you guys. So go check out the website, guys. Let's get some traffic going through there.
We're also on YouTube Music, guys, as a
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. So you don't have to keep your phone open. Yeah.
Look at my face. I don't blame you.
Yeah, for sure. I don't either. My favorite part of the show is when you turn your camera off.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you can listen to the show without having to keep your phone open to have to watch it. So if you're working out or driving or something, you don't have to have the video on, just the sound, man. So that's pretty cool too. So YouTube Music for that. Amphiora says, thanks again for continually having great shows. Look forward to all every Thursday when I can catch you. That's very kind. That's too kind, man. But
yeah, it's a testament, man. That's why we do this, for that right there. No joke.
100%. Yeah, that type of connection, man. And me and Brandon have been doing this for many, many years, just without anybody else really listening. We love talking sports, and involving you guys in that conversation makes it that much better. The connection we can make through these conversations is the whole point of this. So we just want to keep building up this community.
We've been talking to you guys for the last 15 years.
Thanks, Purple Pope. I don't have YouTube Premium, but YouTube Music, we are on there too. We're going to be getting on Spotify. We're going to be doing a lot of cool shit, guys.
Yeah, YouTube Music's just a free app. Same as YouTube.
Yeah. But, stick with us. We'll be back again on Thursday for another episode of The Bare Minimum. No, we won't actually. Next Thursday, we got the draft party that I just advertised. So next Thursday, we're going to take a break from The Bare Minimum.
Next Thursday's draft party is The Bare Minimum.
But Saturday, you got the Northside 9 with Sean and Kyle. This Saturday at 11 a.m. is usually when they go on. So check that out. If you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell, you're just going to get these notifications whenever we go live. As long as the show is not left on private and it's made public, you will get that notification. Monday, the House Hall Hangover, 6 o'clock. We'll be back for that. That's going to be our last show before the draft, guys. Wednesday, the Barely There podcast. Going to be an awesome week. The build up to the draft is going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what happens. So again, thanks everybody for being here. Have a great rest of your night, rest of your morning. Bear down.
Bear down, fellas. Thanks.